two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week, another episode of Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. I'm your host, 30 and Still Gaming, and joining me each and every single week is Sgt McClusky. What's going on, bro?
Hi. Another week the computer's still working. It's a good week.
I would hope your new computer works every week. It's a new computer. It shouldn't break like the last one, right? We could all hope.
I'm not saying anything anymore.
You have wood next to you. You should knock on some wood, right? You should knock on some wood. Generation X Gaming is a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. We're here live, 8 p.m. Eastern on 30 NSG. This is episode 360. We've done, that's right, 359 episodes. This is 360. We go all the way back to 2015 is when we first started. May 24th, 2015 is the inaugural show. We're here on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm, anywhere else you can listen or watch a podcast. We're also on Spotify for video as well. If you guys would like to submit a question, there's a little blue tab up on the top bar. You can ask questions throughout the show. There is a Q&A at the end of the thing, so any question you ask inside the questions, there's a segment at the end of the show. So, but you can submit your questions throughout. So if you hear a topic that we talk about and you want to ask us questions about it, if we don't see it in chat, because we do read chat while we do the show, but if it's a specific question, we can talk about it at the end of the show. On today's show, Sarge, we're going to be talking about Nintendo. We're going to be talking lots about Baldur's Gate. We're going to be talking about Square Enix, their financials a little bit. We're going to be talking about the rumor Xbox Series X digital model. We're going to be talking about Starfield and Samsung. We're going to be talking about just Xbox and Microsoft changing up the Game Pass price and whatnot. We're going to be talking about single-player Assassin's Creed microtransactions. We're going to talk about Grand Theft Auto just a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, we talked about how ChatGPT and how it's going to change because they're putting mods in Skyrim, and now there's a mod inside of Grand Theft Auto 5 that you can ask any question to the pedestrians and they'll respond to you. We'll talk about Sony hints at delays at some PlayStation exclusives. We're going to talk about Red Dead Redemption, the port that they did, and we're also going to be talking about Save Scumming. Where's that story? We have a story here. It's Baldur's Gate, yeah, for Save Scumming. Sarge wanted to talk about that. He said today in the morning. He's like, we're talking about that tonight, so that's what we're doing. So again, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. It helps us out. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5. Let's say hi to chat, Sarge. Let's say hi to Quest, Travis, Water, Dupless, Lurker. Thank you very much, guys and gals, for coming in and hanging out with us on this wonderful Thursday evening. So, Sarge, let's see what we've been playing. All right, Sarge. So, another week, bunch of games. What have you been playing?
I mean, I'd like to see, before I start talking, and while I'm talking, I'll read chat, but like I want to know what chat's playing. Like, what game right now are you playing? I know you guys might be playing like one or two games, but like, what's the game you're playing? Type it in. What games are you playing? For me, since I got my computer working again, I began the process of reinstalling everything that I wanted to reinstall. I found some new gems on Steam that I thought that I did not have anymore that were there, that I had on an old hard drive that I forgot that it was even there. So I downloaded some of that stuff. So I've been playing Star Control Origins, which is made by Starcom.
Real quick, Sarge, make sure your microphone, you're talking into the front part, not the top part. Thank you.
Yeah, so
there you go.
I was playing Star Control Origins, which is the fourth game in a series. This game is not made by the same people as Star Control. It was bought out by Starcom, the company, and
Right.
so they took it over. Uh, it's a humorous space exploration game. It's a lot of talking to aliens and
What's it
trying to
called?
upgrade
What's
your
it called?
ship and survive. Star Control Origins.
Star Control
The original game, Star Control, was a top-down space combat game based off the original game called Space War from like back in like 1980 dickety something, right? And so this version of the game was there was like 16 races and eight good, eight bad, and each ship had a primary and a secondary weapon, and there was a specific stats that the ship had, and so you had to learn how to use each ship, and then you figured out over time what ship was good at killing another ship on the other team,
Right.
and you did like an 8 versus 8, and you try to compete with each other. And we used to do it when we were kids. And then the Star Control 2 came out, and it was a long play adventure. And then Star Control 3 came out, another long play adventure. It wasn't as good. You guys can look that one up. But Origins came out, and it was like a rehashing of the original series, but they're not allowed to use the old races, so they had to make up all new races. So basically, it's like somebody's imagination about sci-fi inside of a game. It's just kind of fun.
Right.
Been playing that. I re-downloaded Total War Warhammer 3. That's amazing. Still.
Which
Yeah,
one? Which
playing
one was that now? Sorry, which one?
Warhammer Total
Oh,
War
Warhammer.
3.
You talked about that. Yeah,
Yep.
I won't bring that up
Yep.
on stream.
Yep. Um, been playing. What was that other game I downloaded? Star Control. Oh, and then there's what is the name of the game? There's Dawn of War 2. Because Dawn of War 3 is garbage. So I watch a lot of team versus team battles with Dawn of War 2. So I downloaded some mods and I downloaded some skin packs for some teams that I wanted to play, and I've been playing that for like the last week.
Okay.
Been doing some skirmishes with some people online, trying to relearn the game again. Usually it's like a 2v2, so I'm trying to understand how the game works. Yeah, Dawn of War. The first one I liked a lot, and if you play with that one, you can download a lot of mods. They've got a lot of mods for that one too. But so far, it's been a lot of RTS and that space strategy game, and then we
You
played Division.
you do love some RTSs.
I
Did
mean,
you-
yeah. I mean, I haven't. I have. Once again,
Did
I
you-
have not gotten Company Heroes 3.
Did you purchase
I-
Dune Spice Wars?
I didn't. Oh, I got the early thing pack, whatever that is.
So you
Like
bought
the
it.
testers pack. I don't think technically I didn't buy it.
That's the
I
whole
think
game. Yeah. No, if you
10
buy,
or
yeah, if you buy,
$15, $20, whatever it
yeah,
was
yeah,
when
if
I
you
got
buy
it.
the game, you don't have to pay anymore. Like you're supporting them early, so you get it at a discounted rate.
It needs a little bit more work. It's such a grand strategy game. It needs a little bit more work. I'm waiting for the next couple patches. I want to see what they do. But I'm trying not I'm trying not to get deep into anything right now. Like
You're
in all
saving-
honesty,
you're waiting for
Company
Starfield.
Heroes, Company Heroes 3, I want to buy, but I didn't buy it.
Or just waiting for
Baldur's
Starfield.
Gate 3, I want to buy, but I didn't buy it. But here's the good news, right? Do you have to get a game day one?
Nope, you don't have to get a game day one.
I mean, do I?
No, Baldur's
Do
Gate
I-
3. Baldur's Gate 3 will be there
Like
when
by the
6
time
months from
by the-
now. It'll be there 8
Right,
months
like by
from now.
the time I have the time to actually make time to play Baldur's Gate 3, I guarantee you I get it on sale by Thanksgiving. At like a 15% off or 20% off thing. I guarantee it. But this is where we are. Busy, but like I'm squeezing in games here and there.
We played Division, and after we completed Division, did your game not bug out? Did you finish the actual campaign?
I had to restart the whole game. I had to turn everything off, turn everything back on, reload. Then it let me talk to the person.
I thought maybe you had to do the whole thing over again.
No.
All right.
Like,
Well,
the game is
It was exciting, Sarge.
the game
We
is barely
saved
holding
somebody. We saved somebody, and they actually opened up a door, and the person was there,
on. Came out of it, yeah.
and she
Yeah, so
talked
they
to us.
they splurged.
They splurged on the last character.
splurged on
Yeah.
the last character.
Yeah.
But they didn't watch it keep opening up garage doors and
Yeah.
saving the guy you were actually after. They just tell you that they saved them.
Yeah, it was funny that we saved 4 people. The 5th one, which was we finished year 5 season 1 last night. If you guys missed it, we had a rando with us helping us through the missions, and we completed it, and we saved the last guy and then the last girl, the fifth person. We saved the fourth person, then it opens up the last one. We went to the zoo. And we completed the zoo mission, and at the end, you actually get to open the doors and see the person you're saving, and then there's like a long cutscene, and there's like a dialogue happening, and then, which me and Sarge were asking for the entire season 5. We're like, wait a minute, you're saving people? Like, you did a side mission, and you would save the person, and they would come walking out and talk to you.
Not even a side mission, bro. You just roll up on an event that's inside the game, and you save the guy, and the door opens up, and the guy's there.
Right there, and they're already
like it's not hard. Like, why don't just fucking try? I don't get it, dude.
Right, Travis says they did the basics. Let's give them all a round of applause.
Just fucking try, dude. Just
Wait, do
try.
I have the crowd?
Like if you didn't open the door to rescue somebody and it was never in the game and you didn't want to do it, you didn't want to code it, I'll give it to you. But it's in the game already.
Right.
Like
right.
you guys are that lazy that you don't even allow us to go open a door and see the guy that we just waited 6 weeks to save. Like, just be there.
Yeah.
Have the guy be there. It's just lazy. It's just lazy. Like, I get it. 8 guys in a room smoking cigarettes in front of a server. They don't care. I get it, but
yeah, it's on life support. It's on life support.
Not even life support, bro. Pull the plug.
Yeah.
Just pull the plug.
We're gonna talk. I didn't bring this up, Sarge. We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about Destiny for a second. We're gonna talk about Destiny for a second.
Why?
I'm just kidding. I have Vagoda on the screen. Did you see the people that are they're completely losing the reality is just crumbled on the Destiny community. They finally see the love of their stripper girlfriend that has just crumbled around them.
Yeah, but like, okay, is it just because they're screaming louder than normal and some journalists actually decided to talk about, like, what's the actual conversation? Like, what are they actually mad about that they weren't mad about before?
They said that they can't support, at least the glimpse that I got, they can't support the multiplayer because to take the people to make a map for multiplayer would cost too much, so they just don't want to do it.
That's bullshit,
right?
That's bullshit.
They're also talking about that they just can't do the stuff, and they have to put more microtransactions in and whatnot.
Marathon's on the way, though.
Yeah, not enough resources.
Marathon's on the way.
Yeah, they don't have enough.
Worry about it.
They don't have enough resources to keep supporting.
Marathon's on the way. Don't worry about it.
So people are upset because they're like, so what? We're going to pay for this game so you can fund the next game, right? Type of thing. So that's the gist. Honestly, I really don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
So I've been playing Transformers War of Cybertron. I picked it up, got the disc. I called you like a week and a half ago and said, hey, do you have it? You said yes. I said bring it up next time you visit. But then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go buy it. So I went out and tried to find a guy who was selling it, and I went up to him. I said, can I see the disc? It was all scratched to hell, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to take a risk, right? I was like, no thanks, I'm not gonna take it, right? And he wanted $40 for it. And I was like, no thanks, right? Because I just didn't want to take the risk. So then I went quickly, searched online, and then I saw one that was at this mom and pop store. It's called Hudson's Video. And I didn't know there was 2 locations. So I called a location that I thought was because I thought it was the only one, right? Because it's a mom and pop shop. And they have 3 locations, right? So I went to the wrong location. I called, and they're like, yeah, we didn't talk to you. I was like, this is the number, right? I was like, this is the oh no, that's our other location that's like 40 minutes away from here. And I was like, ah. So then I had to drive my ass 40 minutes to go to a different mall, and they had it, and they took it down because they were actually trying to sell it on Amazon, and they gave me it for $45. No case, just the disc, and there was like one little blemish on the back, and I said, I took a cloth, wiped it off. I said, can you put it in your machine and see if it works? And they said, yep. And they did it. And I was like, great, I'll take it. So I've been playing that. And let me tell you, man, that game came out in 2010. It's a phenomenal game, right? It's getting me so hyped up.
It's a Transformers game.
Yeah, it's getting me hyped up for Transformers Reactivate. Okay. And I don't think I'm hyping myself up going, this is what it's going to be like, right? Like, they're going to look like this. They're better graphics and obviously whatever, right? But just the dialogue that's happening in this show, and then I love how they did Transformers War of Cybertron, because like the first 5 chapters are all Decepticons. It's like you are Megatron trying to take over Cybertron. And then the other 5 chapters is the Autobots trying to stop Megatron from taking or trying to get it back from him after he took it over, right? And it's so close to my childhood of Megatron and Soundwave, and I just love that they're on Cybertron. They convert into that futuristic. Remember we watched the original G1 cartoons, and they didn't show what Cybertron was. It was just they were on Earth, and this is what they looked like, and they always had those like little flashbacks of what they look like on Cybertron, and then down the road they went back to Cybertron, and they nailed it, man. They just nailed it. And so I'm excited. I'm playing through that. I'm going to be playing through the sequel of Fall of Cybertron, leading up to Gamescom, because Gamescom is at the end of this month, and there's supposed to be news from Splash Damage about Transformers Reactivate. So I want to finish War of Cybertron. I'm going to finish Fall of Cybertron. It'll go right into the following week where Gamescom happens, and hopefully, ta-da, they'll say something about Transformers Reactivate and get really excited about it.
I think one of my favorite boss battles was fighting Soundwave when his little buddies kept coming out of his coming out of him.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite boss battles.
You don't fight the Panther. You fight Rumble. You fight Laserbeak. You fight.
I think they were gonna have trouble with the animation. I think that's my guess.
But it's still a good fight. You fight Starscream.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite guy.
Right.
Savage is my favorite. My favorite cassette.
You see Starscream when he was an Autobot, and then switches back over or switches to Decepticon after Megatron wants to kick his ass. And he's like, can't stop me. And he's like, oh Lord Megatron, I'm so sorry.
Shockwave. I like Shockwave. The Omega Supreme battle is very good.
Oh yeah.
But I'll tell you this though. If you think the Omega Supreme battle is messed up, you're not gonna like Trypticon.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's really hard. It's really annoying. Like, you constantly have to be moving. If you stop, the snipers or his ridiculousness get you.
I forgot how many Transformers you play. Like, you can be Ironhide and Warpath and Optimus and Bumblebee.
I want to save this for the end, but I want to talk about a Transformers Battlefield game, but not right now. Just move on. Move forward.
Well, I'm playing that. I'm also playing Baldur's Gate 3 now.
How you like it? You still getting your ass kicked?
I'm really liking it a lot. I'm still getting my ass kicked, but I'm also playing.
You gotta learn. Bro.
I'm also playing though. Save Scumming, Sarge. No, not really. But
we'll get to that.
But I'm playing the character, and my character is Jack Burton, right? And Jack Burton is a talker. That's what he is, right? So
you're role playing. That's how you're supposed to play the game. It's not meant to be Diablo.
Yeah, I'm role playing as Jack Burton. Jack Burton's a talker. So when certain dialogue comes up, I'm picking the one that sounds in my head what it sounds like that Jack Burton would say from Big Trouble in Little China, right? So I'm getting myself out of a lot of battles from just the dialogue, okay? Because he's a talker, and I like that because he's not a fighter, right? He's not a fighter. He sucks at it. He can fight, but he's not a fighter. So there's moments that I get myself into that I'm like, oh, I screwed up. And then I have to fight, and then I get my ass completely destroyed. So then I have to load back up because I'm dead. My whole squad dies, right? So then I'm like, okay. But what I do, I'm going back in. So if I pick the dialogue that makes me fight, then I click the same thing again to go back and fight because I'm trying to figure out how to get better at fighting. I'm trying to put different rings and stuff on my character. I'm trying to share because I'm playing just Jack Burton. I'm not playing as Shadow Heart, or I'm not playing as the other characters. You can at any time just click them and be them and have the conversation with them. But I'm just playing as Jack Burton. So I'm collecting everything. I open everything. I go everywhere. I try to figure out. I'm at this puzzle right now. You guys will see it on the next upload or 2 uploads from now. But I'm at this puzzle right now, and I've been stuck here for 15 minutes. Okay, trying to figure out the puzzle. Trying to figure it out, and I'm like talking it through, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So I'm playing this game completely different than I've ever played any game before in my entire life. Okay, I'm not trying to beat it as fast as possible. I'm literally taking my time, just enjoying the little moments that I have in this game, right? And it's a lot of fun, right? Leading up to when Starfield comes out, I'm going to play it almost the same way as I'm playing Baldur's Gate right now, right? I'm not going to try to play Starfield to run through the story as fast as possible to beat it. I'm going to experience Starfield like I'm just living in the world and just do whatever, right? That's what I'm going to try to do, which is really hard for me because I love completing games and then moving on to the next game. And with Baldur's Gate, I'm kind of glad it came out before Starfield because I'm playing, like I said, I'm playing this game completely different than I've played any other game before, even RPGs, past RPGs. So
either games like Baldur's Gate and even Starfield, like I don't say it out loud to myself, but when I start playing, I have it in my mind that I'm going to play it. I'm trying not to die. I'm going to make the decisions to where I don't die. Right? Like you would live your life that way,
it's
like how
hard.
you would live your life.
Yeah.
But once I die, once the death actually happens, then I just go back into fun mode and I start playing the game. I don't care anymore. But in the beginning, I'm always playing with I'm not gonna die. Like I'm playing like I'm gonna pick what I gotta do. I try to do the best I can not to die. And if I make it through the game, then it's like a personal goal for myself that I made it through the game without dying. Otherwise than that, then I don't care anymore. And I just keep having fun.
Creature says you're glad it came out before Starfield. He says so are they. I honestly think Creature, because one's fantasy and one's sci-fi. I think there's overlap there, but
you'll go one into the other one here. But that's the other point I was going to make during the first segment.
I mean, it does come out the same time on PlayStation.
I know I'll stop playing everything else to play Starfield because I don't have to buy it.
Right. You just jump in and
I don't have to buy it. I just jump in. So not a big deal. I've done it in the past. I hate getting a game, getting invested, and then another huge game comes out, and then I don't go back to the first one for like a year.
Yeah.
It becomes like a backlog game, and I just forget about it, and like I just don't go back. And then I hate it later because when I try to go back to it, it's like I lost the drive to want to be in that game now. I'm gone too far doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't get back into it.
You just lose interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis says, Travis says Baldur's Gate 3 on PlayStation 5 will outsell Starfield. You know why? Because it's free. Yep. But
it isn't free.
Yep.
It isn't free.
But you can't compare. We're not going to compare. We're going to move on from what we've been playing, and let's get to the top stories. All right. So the first story I want to talk about is that we're going to start off with Embracer Group. Right. So Embracer Group is starting to close studios after losing out on a deal worth billions. Okay, Embracer announced in June it was closing down studios and laying off staff as the company restructures. Now, Embracer Group has shut down the Campfire cabal as the company begins to closing down some of the development studios after announcing a few months back a deal worth $2 billion fell through. I wonder what that deal was, right? What was that $2 billion deal that fell through? So according to his LinkedIn account, it was exclusive producer at the studio before closure. Embracer Group did not immediately respond to IGN's request for comment. Now, Campfire Cabal opened up its doors last September and was founded that the lead by Jonas Weaver, I think that's how you say it, who also served as a studio creative director. Now, Weaver was previously at Logic Artist, where Weaver, you're so stupid. We created a tactical RPG series, Expeditionist. According to THQ Nordic, the studio would also focus on high-quality, narrative-driven RPGs. Now, while the studio did not have a chance to ship out the first game before its closure, it was tasked with taking over the future of entries in the Expedition series. Now, through the studio, they did not officially reveal what the next project was. So in June, Embracer announced that it was planning on closing the studio and games and lay off the staff as a result of that failed partnership. However, Embracer Group did not go into specifics as to which studios would be affected at this time. Now, Embracer Group, a media juggernaut owning companies such as THQ Nordic, Saber Interactive, Dark Horse Media, Deep Silver, and most notably acquiring the Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix Montreal and Eidos Montreal from Square Enix nearly a year ago. So we kind of talked about this, right? Like people talk about how Microsoft's buying up everybody, right? Or Tencent's buying everybody. Meanwhile, Embracer Group's got like 148 studios or some shit underneath one umbrella, and they didn't have a deal go through. So now a studio is closing as they just opened it. They just opened a brand new studio in September, and now they closed it down just 8 months later. So what do you think? Do you think Embracer Group is going to do more foreclosures on these studios, or do you think they're not going to be as bad as EA or Microsoft when they bought these studios and closed them down?
Or they're all the same. They're all the same. What you have to understand, okay? Like just anybody in chat, anybody listens to this video, pick a studio that you like you actually like them, like you follow them, you buy all their games, you like them, right? Track a studio, like actually track it for like a year or two, like track it. The same thing happens every time. If they release a game and they say it was well received, but they didn't hit what they were expecting. Whatever, I forget what the proper term is. You know which one it is.
Yeah.
They were well. What's the term? It's they were oh God, it'll come to me. It's the phrase they always use. So they didn't hit the number they wanted to hit, and so all of a sudden they fire people or they lay people off or the studio gets absorbed or it happens every time, right? Because in their mind, right, whatever the payday was, if they don't have enough money to start again for like the first like 6 months or like first year in development of something else, they just dissolve you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? And especially if it does well and they thought it was just too that time period wasn't done well enough, or we waited too long for that number, or whatever it is, and then they dissolve it anyway and they move those people into something else.
Right.
It's not like it was before, where you have an idea, you have to back your idea, you have to push your idea on other people and have them back you financially, and then you go through the ringer of saying, is our art and our quality of work good enough to sell this game? And if it is, we get to make another game. That was the whole premise. Not anymore, right? Whether your game succeeds or not, I can take dollars to donuts. That studio people are getting fired, moved around, or dissolved, or restructured, whatever the term you want to use, right? There's no such thing as, oh, the studio did really well, and then you don't hear anything until the next time the next game releases that they make, and then you hear about the studio again. Nope.
Right.
Nope. And they'll wait. Like, game of the year comes out November, middle of November, like game comes out, it's awesome. Game of the year, February, layoffs.
Right.
Like it's every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Dupas wants to know what happens to the studio and the franchise. Right. I said it's done. It's gone. Just everything.
They don't care.
It's just gone.
It's just, but this is the problem to them. To the suits involved in this constant juggling of IP, to them, the IP is just a widget. It's just a thing. It's the thermos cup in the tourist store. It's the T-shirt hanging on the mannequin at the Disney tourist shop.
Yeah.
They don't care,
yeah.
Right? They're just going to get another 100 people. They're going to come up with another idea that copy pastas whatever's going on currently, and they're going to pump up another one. And they pump it up. I don't understand what you guys are so surprised about. Like, the game succeeds or it doesn't. Is anyone following what's been going on the last couple of years? Do you see what succeeds and what does it?
Yeah.
And does it matter if it does?
Yeah, so
it doesn't.
What Viking said, Viking's correct, right? So if Embracer bought the studio, then they own all the rights and IPs, all the licensing and stuff that's with that. For instance, when they bought Square Enix, when they bought Crystal Dynamics, they bought the game, but they didn't own the license for Marvel. But they ended the contract when it ended. So they had a contract. Crystal Dynamics still had a contract. They take over that contract up until that point, and then they tried to sign Marvel, which apparently it didn't happen. Which is maybe the $2 billion. I would say maybe it's the $2 billion deal that fell through, right? Because that seems like something that would.
Yeah, because they needed the $2 billion because somebody needed a new Genie, and they needed to figure out how to stretch out the next games as a service to go the next 3 years.
So I think what happens is now any anything underneath that studio, franchise, IP, whatever, they own it. Embracer Group owns it, and they can give it to another studio to work on the license or IP, or they can just sit on it and do nothing with it, right? And then it just goes into the pool of death, where 10 years from now they're like, oh, we own this brand, let's put it back out there and see what happens. When they're looking for IPs to put out there. So it's a shame that Embracer Group did this. I mean, EA has done it. Activision has done it. Microsoft has done it.
How many studios do they have? How many studios do they have, bro? Does it matter to let them go one?
No, they have over 100 studios, I believe, Embracer Group.
Right. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just
right.
One
You're
of many.
Just number 75 to 125. Start looking for work.
Yeah,
we're done with you. That's it. Right. That's the issue. See, the constant issue always is that if you have up and coming talent that is working for a indie studio or a small studio, and they like what they're doing, and they have a passion project, and they're willing to try because they believe in the ideas that the upper echelon management and they had together, and they work towards the goal, right? They succeed, they make a game, and instead of just redoing the same process, some vulture comes sweeping in and says, hey guys, nice job on that game. Why don't you come under our wing and we'll give you all the money you need to make the next great game that you want to make? And then they go, oh yeah, it sounds all gravy. Then they get into the room and they start discussing ideas again. And instead of them being discussing what they want to do, the four horsemen of the apocalypse hang out in the room, hang out in the room with them, keep dropping them shit piles of ideas that have to be inside their game. And so they don't get to make their game.
They're like, hey, I would like to make a Marvel game where it's a co-op and it's going to be online. They're like, yeah, but can you put microtransactions in there? And they're like,
it's
yeah,
constant,
sure.
bro. It's
but
constant.
Can you sell the cosmetic skins inside that game?
Right, so there's so many, right? And let me finish. And because of that happening, the young talent that had a good time for the 2 or 3 years they had in making that game, all of a sudden are being pressured to do stuff that they don't want to do for the paycheck because now they have to. Right. And so you lose the ability to make a creative decision because now you're under corporate control. Right. And then that doesn't foster any kind of growth for that person creatively. He just has to follow what they tell him to do now. It's not about exploring your ideas, sharing ideas with the people who are like-minded and figure out what we can do with this. And so you don't get talent. Right. Let's see, guys. What's the difference between a talented studio and a studio that was told what to do? Well, let's see. Baldur's Gate 3, Liam Studios, right? They've been making these games for
Lauren Studios.
Lauren Studios. They've been making these games for 20 years. So this is what 20 years of experience looks like when you stop fucking with them and let them make a game that they want to make, right? Do you think that talent is just laying around everywhere? No, because they keep chopping them up and separating them and putting them into other groups, and they never get to coalesce and form a good group of guys. Like in any other facet of life, right? You establish the crew, who's good at what, and then you push forward in the strengths and weaknesses of those people. You make a good team.
Yeah.
It takes time. They want to pump out a fucking game every 5 years and then give them a whole group of 100 new people, and now you have to come out with the same fucking game again. Like, no, buddy, that's not how this works. We're not making fucking widgets.
That's exactly what happened to Battlefront, right? Or Battlefield, I should say. Battlefield. Krebsy real quick says, if you are going to buy a company / talent, you should want to elevate them to inspiration, right? As aspirations. But these days, companies just buy companies to own companies so others can't own the companies, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they don't want people. They're like, wait a minute, they're making something cool over there. Let's buy them so we can stop them from making that. That's exactly right.
I'm not saying it's easy, right? You might gamble with this artistic team, not autistic, artistic team, right? Maybe they're autistic.
They could be autistic.
Maybe that's why it's good, right? You gamble, and sometimes you lose, right? You lose. And that team has to figure out now, well, who can we get to fund us again? Let's do a smaller project. Let's get our names back out there
Right.
again.
Let's kind
It's
of
a
hone in on what
slow
we do.
process.
Yeah.
It's like chopping down a tree and then planting a fucking seed. You don't get a tree next year.
You do it in
gotta fucking
Minecraft,
wait,
get some bone meal,
right?
and just put that in there.
You gotta wait. But they want it instantaneous. They want the widget, they want the cash, and they want it repeatable. And I'm like, this is not how the gaming industry works. And so all the burnout and everything that's caused in the last 5 years, including up until the coof, right? Everything together has caused just it's a complete erosion of the talent pool for gaming.
Yeah, and
Because you've got top talent who are making things that they don't like, are not interested in, but under contract obligation and the paycheck that they had in the contract, you have to. Right? So you think the guys who are making Madden and FIFA, they're dead inside. They don't care. They're just collecting a paycheck.
They just show up to work and they're like, all right, let's just,
they don't care.
Yeah.
We're not making art. We gotta make EA's next fucking football game. That's what they're saying. That's it.
Yeah.
That's not art, right? Gaming is art. Yes, you're selling a product, but gaming is art. And if you're going to take away the art and just market your way into trying to make money, as opposed to allowing people to develop and let talent build, right? Why do you think they are harping on Baldur's Gate 3 so badly? Why do you think that journalists are taking the angle where they're saying, don't expect it?
Yeah.
This is not real. This is like, who talks like that? You think I'm negative? That's the most negative shit I've ever heard said about gaming ever. I'm like, what are you talking about? The top talent guys made a top tier game. It took them 6 years and the game kicks ass. And it's got nothing to do with present day live service garbage. And it's got everything to do with old school gaming passion and power.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad when people in the industry are like, don't expect this. What Baldur's Gate 3 did, don't expect that for the rest of the industry, because it's not gonna. It's like, what are you talking about?
Dude, I want every time I'm gonna start looking up articles. Everybody's name. I'm getting everybody's name. I'm writing them down. Who said anything in that tone about how to look up? I'm writing all their fucking names down. I'm on you guys now. It's
such a double standard though, because if you think about it, the industry doesn't matter if it's music, doesn't matter if it's movies, doesn't matter if it's TV shows, doesn't matter if it's video games. If something lands and hits like a battle royale game, everybody else jumps on board the bandwagon for battle royale games. You see what I'm saying? Or if that's
called a trend.
Yeah, and if single player games take off, EA's like, we're never making single player games again. Meanwhile, their single player games are hits, and now they're all on board with single player games, right? So to say that what Baldur's Gate is doing, and the developers like, don't expect that. So you're telling me we can expect shitty, crappy, like borderline unfinished games, and that's the standard. And
that's what they want you to say.
Right, and good games like Baldur's Gate 3 is, don't expect that. Can't expect great things from us. Like, so it's unobtainable. Like, what are you talking about? This is how competition and stuff works. If someone raises the bar, then
that's the bar.
That's the bar, right? That's the new level of the bar.
We don't do the best work possible, then say, well, maybe, don't look at it. Don't look at my best work. Look at the stuff over here when I was doing my cocaine binges and alcoholic and the second ex-wife. Look at that. That's the work you want to rely on. You don't want the work over here that puts everybody else to shame. And some people should just quit doing their job because they don't know how to code.
Yeah, can you stop raising the bar, please? Because you're making us look bad. That's what they're saying. Yeah, that's exactly what they're saying. Yeah. Don't make your game good. You're gonna make us look bad, and then we have to bring our game up, and we can't afford that. Like, what are you talking about? So let's talk about Nintendo next, right? Nintendo, the story for Nintendo is Nintendo's reportedly plans to release the next-gen console during second half of 2024. Now, obviously, we talked a little bit about this last week, right? So Nintendo will release the next-gen console during the second half of 2024. This is rumors. Is there any? There's not even an article here. Fantastic. So the rumor is that they're going to release it then, right? And here's the thing. There's this from Nintendo as well, right? These are the top 10 games. We talked about this earlier this week on my single stream in the mornings, Monday through Thursday, 10 o'clock a.m. Be there. We break down some things, and people are always confused on why I always say crazy Uncle Nintendo, right? It's not about the systems they sell, it's about the software they sell for the systems, right? This is why I always say they hand you one when you're born and you turn it in when you die. Okay? Like that's Nintendo. That's their player range, right? From birth to death. Okay?
Pretty much.
And every time they come out, it doesn't matter if it's GameCube, doesn't matter if it's the Wii U or the Wii or whatever, even though the Wii U sucked, when they come out with a game that's a first-party title, the people that buy that system buy those first-party titles. So we looked at it earlier because a PlayStation fan was like, well, PlayStation's kicking Nintendo's ass. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, Nintendo, nobody holds a candle, right, to Nintendo. They sell so much software. So much so that the best first-party title game for PlayStation is Horizon Zero Dawn. It sold just the one game, not the series, just the one game, sold 20 million units, which is eighth best on the Nintendo on the Nintendo sphere. Okay, because on this list, okay, you gotta get past 16.1 million copies sold, which is Super Mario Deluxe. Okay, and then you have Zelda that just came out in May. It's already at 18.51 million. Okay, then you have Mario Party, which is at 19.39 million. Then you have Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which is at 22.66 million. It sold 10 million copies in 3 days. Okay, then you have Sword and Shield, which is another 25.92. Then you have Super Mario Odyssey, 26.44 million. Then you have the top four here. Now you have Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is at 30.65 million. Super Smash Brothers is 31.77 million. Animal Crossing's at 42.79 million, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is at 55.46 million. Now, on top of that for Mario Kart, you also have a subscription model, because now to get the new tracks and whatnot, you pay, I forget what it is, if it's $10 a month or $50, $25 a year, whatever it is, but they sell the extra tracks separately that you can now download for that. They don't even have to sell a new game anymore. Now they're just selling extra tracks to put into that game, which Bungie wouldn't do because they don't have the time or money to put into extra maps, right? They can't even bring out old maps back. It takes time to do stuff, and they can't do that. Nintendo doesn't care. So going back to their new system, right? The new system we talked about last week about what it could be. When they come out next year, Sarge, which the Switch has already been out for 7 years, right? So by the time that one comes out, it's 8 years. It's already the tail end of that console. They come out with their next Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever they call it. Obviously, it could be a dud, right? It could be a dud. It could be like the Wii U, right? We could be seeing the second Wii U, or it could be successful, just like majority of all the Nintendo systems that have been out there. So taking this list, right? Just taking this list, you just copy pasta this list and just move it on over to the next system, right? Move it on over to the next system. They have IPs for days. They have IPs they haven't even touched. You don't even see Metroid on here, right? Metroid is not on here. You got Kid Icarus they could put back out there. They could put Sonic, a new Sonic game that could be out here, right?
But you realize that their first party titles do Call of Duty numbers.
Yes,
right?
Each one of their first party titles does Call of Duty numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but they don't. A lot of people don't talk about Nintendo because they think the two guys in the ring
it's for babies
are PlayStation and Xbox, when really there's only one guy in the ring for console, which is PlayStation.
Yes, because
but they don't talk about Nintendo.
Yeah, because
Nintendo's games pound for pound, bang for bang. Okay, they sell more copies for their first party titles. Crazy numbers. Crazy numbers.
They're in the 20-30 percentile for each of their systems, right? They have 122 million Switches out there, and 55 million, almost 56 million people have Mario on their system, right? That's insane. That's insane.
It's console adoption because of the IP of the actual character,
and they never go on sale.
That's why
they barely ever go on sale. And if a Nintendo game goes on sale, it's like $5-10 off, right?
Well, you have to catch it for like the Black Friday stuff, like retail stores, and retail stores are eating that money that they would have made, but they still have to pay Nintendo the amount that they have to pay Nintendo.
And
right. Yeah, right. That's what happens. Like, you see a game on sale, it's the retail store stealing from Paul to give to Peter. Like, they're eating the loss. They still have to pay Nintendo the same amount of money if they sell that game, right? But they want it out of their store. they want to move it.
Well, now you also have to think they also sell more peripherals than anybody else because most of the games they make for Switch are 4 players, right? Like you have the Deluxe, you have Smash Brothers, you can play multiplayer with people.
Party games.
Right. So you're
Party
either
games.
you're Mario Party, right? There's games that are multiplayer, and so you're gonna have to buy more Joy-Cons, right? Which are cheaper, but there's still more peripherals to sell on the stuff.
Still sales.
So yeah,
Listen, Nintendo is a force to be reckoned with. They have strong IP that they don't let die on the vine. You will never going to see Nintendo take a giant shit on Zelda, right? And tell you they don't care about it anymore and throw it out the fucking window. Like, it's not going to happen, right? Right? So the fact that other companies are throwing away the oldest IP that they ever had and they just throw it out the window because they don't care says a lot.
Right.
Says a lot about the industry. If you're going to throw away what started you, Nintendo doesn't let go of anything. They sue you into oblivion if you mention it.
Right.
Right. You can't even have a picture of something of Nintendo on your videos.
PlayStation and Xbox, they need a Call of Duty, which is a third-party game, to sell 20, 30 million copies, right, on their systems. Meanwhile, every first-party title has a potential of making 20, 30 million copies sold on Nintendo.
But that's because that's cultivated marketing over time. And your dad tells his kid, I played this as a kid. Here's the game. Why don't you try it? Like, that's what that is. All those games are passed on. I played Mario when I was in school. Look at the new Mario game. Oh, maybe my son will like the Mario game. Let's get him Mario. Like, that's how it's treated across the board. Because it matters to Nintendo because all those games sell. They're system sellers, and everybody wants them.
Yeah. I just find it funny because Nintendo is still doing old school type of stuff, right? You're getting little cartridges. They're charging $60 for the cartridges, and now $70 for the little cartridges. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're paying $70 for a disc or non-disc now. It's all digital or whatever for Xbox and PlayStation, right?
You're paying the value of entertainment, basically.
Right. So it's just funny to me that Nintendo's like, yeah, you guys go digital and stuff. They have a digital store and stuff on Nintendo. They're converting into it, but at the same time, they're all about the hard copy. Here's the hard copy of the game. Put it in your.
Well, but let's not misconstrue. Like, once Nintendo, the reason why Nintendo doesn't go full digital is because proprietary stuff, you can't pirate it. They want to be in control.
Right.
That's the whole thing, right? As soon as cloud starts to escalate, like, and I know we keep forgetting about these stories, but I don't forget them. The story where they have the cloud thing where the data transfer is like some ridiculous number that they can
download the whole internet.
Data.
Yeah,
like that verbiage is still going on. Once it starts to come out that cloud can do that now, that's just like the sun coming up. This is what cloud's going to be. Believe you me, Nintendo will stop making all kinds of plastic. Everything just goes to the system. Everything just goes into the into the atmosphere, right? I'm sure of it, right? But that day hasn't come yet. So they want control, right? And why are we going to shake the boat when we don't have to? Because these are our numbers, and our numbers have remained the same. If not, we get new numbers, and it's still growth over time because the people that get a Nintendo just have Nintendo. Like, you may have more than one system, but for some reason you just have Nintendo. Like, from the time you're 6 and then it's in your grandmother's house, you still got Nintendo.
Well, here's another thing that Nintendo does. When in a house, I have an X and an S. My son's on an S, I'm on an X, but most households have one Xbox or one PlayStation. Yes, there's people out there that have more, but the majority have one system. For Nintendo, for a family, I think it's like 2 systems, if not 3, because they want everyone in the house to have Switch, right? For certain games, because it's just, I don't know, it's just weird, right? We almost bought during the pandemic, we almost bought 2 extra Switches, okay, just so we could play Animal Crossing as a family. Because when you play Animal Crossing on one system, it's like you're just tailing along. You can't really do anything. And you can't really do your save on your island. It's a shared thing. And you're like, you know what?
Yeah, but think of it. It's a small screen as it is, right?
Yeah.
Just be practical about it. It's a small screen as it is. So if we can play multiplayer game and we each have our own Switch and each have my own screen, instead of us just all going onto the same TV and play that split screen stuff that makes everybody crazy, I've got my own personal screen. I've been staring at it for 4 years. Why should that matter now?
Right. Yeah. So going from Nintendo, let's go to Square Enix. Right. Square Enix, operating income down to 80.6% year over year, despite the Final Fantasy 16 success. Not good. Not a good look for the publisher. Now, Square Enix's fiscal 2024 quarter one results, net sales are plus 14.4%. Operating income is negative 78.5%. Digital entertainment net sales is plus 16.4%. Now, the HD game sub-segment sales up due to Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, but profits down partially due to the amortization of development costs. Now, the MMO sub-segment down year over year, and games for smart devices and PC browsers sub-segment down due to weak performances from existing titles. Publication net sales are minus 4.7%. Amusement net sales is plus 11.3%, and merchandising net sales is plus 28.7%. Now, you wonder why, right? Their fiscal stuff is down. Final Fantasy, even though it sold 3.3 million copies on a user base of 40 million units on PlayStation 5, it wasn't enough. So this is why they signed the deal with Microsoft to get Final Fantasy 14 over on Xbox later next year.
Well, I think that this is their attempt to try to save what little of the company they have left, because I think what's happening is if they don't have this deal, then they're probably in the realm of being bought up by somebody, because they're probably not going to be able to cover their nut. I assume that along with this deal, there's probably going to be some layoffs, probably before the end of the year, if not the beginning of next year. Right? Because this is how it goes. Square Enix had its heyday. They made some of the greatest games.
They still make some pretty good games. Yeah.
I'm not putting them down, but the market has changed, right? They are bogarting people's time. Okay. Every game out there is trying to find ways of keeping you inside their game. Instead of you just playing a game and then moving on to the next game and be done with it, this constant having to go back and play the next season, the next thing, it's like Farmville on acid, bro. Right? Like Farmville was like the beginning of it back in the mobile days, like when it first came out on PC and mobile. Yeah. And now it's like the meth lab of Farmville. Like you have to come back. And so this demographic of people that have played 2 or 3 games, maybe 4 games, and they keep having to go back to these games all the time. You don't have time. You don't have time to be juggling all these games. It's impossible. Goes back to
time. Yeah, it always comes down to time.
So we're eating into it now, where it's finally coming out that these titles can't sustain because they can't get people to come back and play their friggin' game. And the diminishing returns for making a multi-million-dollar game, hoping that they spend more money than it cost us to make it because of all the time we spent trying to make it, isn't working out, right? It's just not working out. They're going to have to find some kind of way where every company has like 1 or 2 games like that, and then the rest of the games are kind of like normal, because they can't keep juggling all this stuff. That's why all these companies are shutting down servers, cutting out these games. Like we're restructuring everything. We're not doing this anymore. Like, who are you kidding, right? You're not letting money go out the window, right? We want to hang on to those people, but they realize they can't hang on to everybody.
Right.
You can't be juggling around this many games. It's impossible. Right. Mark my words. Square Enix once this deal closes, I'll give it 6 months. Someone's going to pick them up.
I was going to say, who do you think is going to buy them, Sony or Microsoft?
We had this discussion.
I know.
We had this discussion. The only 2 players in is Microsoft and Sony.
Well, you could get Amazon.
Listen, like Sony, it's a no-brainer for Sony. Then Final Fantasy goes automatically. It's just on PlayStation. Another first-party title. Another first-party title that Sony controls.
Here's the thing.
Great.
It all depends on what. If Sony buys them, in my opinion, I don't think that's the play. Now, I understand that Sony's the leader in the console market, okay? But the saturation point, even if they hit 200 million sales, right? There's more potential to go to the cloud and get to many as people as possible, okay?
Listen,
so
Sony already knows.
I don't see Square Enix getting picked up by Sony, because Square Enix goes, Well, we're limiting ourselves.
We know our number.
Yeah, we're limiting ourselves. And right now, it's been on PlayStation, and Final Fantasy 16 came out, and it's only 3.3 million sales, right?
Which is not bad. It's just that's the number.
Correct.
That's their fluctuation. It goes a little above 3, goes a little bit below 3, and a 2. That's the number. That's who you attract when you release a Final Fantasy game. It's a niche game.
Dupless.
So they want more eyeballs. That's it.
Dupless, I think here's what I think, right? I think if Sony picks them up, they make it exclusive, and it stays with Sony. If Microsoft picks it up, they pick it up and let everyone have it because they want it to be able to be played anywhere on any system, right? And I know people are going to point out, well, they didn't do that with Starfield. They didn't. Starfield is still on your Samsung television. It's still on the PC. It's still on the cloud gaming. There's more things that it's on than it's not. The only thing it's not on is PlayStation for now. And we think maybe down the road, maybe they'll open it up for it. But right now, it's only on Microsoft operating type of stuff. And I think that's sort of like what Krebsy said earlier. He said that people don't buy companies because they want to buy the companies. They want to buy companies to stop other people from buying the companies, right? So I think if Sony picks them up, they want them so Microsoft doesn't get them. But if Microsoft picks it up, I don't think they do the same route. I think they want to get it out to as many people as possible because they'll use the Final Fantasy name to bring people onto Game Pass, where Sony will just bring people onto PlayStation.
Yeah, but look at it right now. If Sony were to buy Square Enix is a liability to Sony. It's not
Right.
a bonus. It's not making them all they're trying to do is stop Microsoft from getting it, but they'd have to still pay Square Enix money out of their pocket to keep them running because their game doesn't sell as well as other titles would. Whereas Microsoft doesn't care about them paying Square to have Square Enix in their lobby because they have a recurring revenue every month that they don't. Burning a hole in my pocket. I don't know what to do with this next 400 million. Hey, Square Enix, you want to make another game?
Yeah, I think it's the
I think you do.
It's the potential of what could happen in the future than it is to what it is right now. Right? Right now is that PlayStation is where the fan base is for Final Fantasy. That's fact. Because that's where it's been for a decade.
Sure. But are you enjoying your 3 million fans though?
Right. Square Enix
Are you enjoying your 3 million fans?
Yeah, and they made good.
They're thankful.
Yeah, they made good because of PlayStation and PC for Final Fantasy 14, and now that player base is going to get bigger because it's coming over to Microsoft. We'll see if it comes to Game Pass down the road. But let's see what the chat's saying real fast. Oh, real quick, earlier I wanted to say something before. Akuta Papa, thank you very much for the gifted memberships. Now, I don't think anyone claimed them, so make sure that you're opt-in to claim gifted memberships. If you're not opted in, you will not get it. And if you are opt-in, then you will claim one. So make sure you claim those. That was very nice of Akuta Papa, great part of the community, gifting those memberships earlier. All right, real quick, Krebsy says PlayStation has a few big cloud gaming partners that would change how cloud gaming happens. So we'll see in 5 years. Right, if PlayStation is pushing forward with the cloud gaming, right, and obviously the industry was very shaken by what Microsoft was doing because they're like, well, that's not fair because they have the advantage in cloud gaming. So PlayStation's not part of that yet in that system of cloud gaming. They're worried that Microsoft is going to run away with the ball, and so they're not there yet. So you're right. In 5 years, we'll see what happens, but potentially, right? Like we'll look at something later where it showed, all the numbers of the potential people that could be playing Starfield. Now, not everyone's going to be playing it, but with all the different avenues you can play it on. We'll talk about that in just a second.
There's only two ways you look at this, right? You have a number in your head. You're a well-established IP. This is the number of sales you have. If you're going to stay with only one platform and you realize that's your only number that you're going to be getting, unless someone's paying you a kickback or some reason to eat, I'm paying you to accept your 3 million people. Is basically what right. Sony would have to do. Square would need someone to say, you're going to give me money for me not to expand my player base. And Microsoft's like, hey, you want 100 million people to see your game? And they're like, let's see, our retention rate's about 8.5%. We can do a 25% bump. We do a little sale. We can get it like an 18% retention. Yeah, Yeah, I think we'll go. We're gonna take curtain one, Bob. I think like you're gonna try.
Yeah.
You want more people to buy your game. Have we forgotten why we're doing this? Right? We're doing this to sell products, right? If 3 million is all I'm going to sell ever, then you have to pay me for me to sit on my 3 million. I want more than 3 million. But we want to be exclusive.
Right.
Great. What's your deal going to be for me to be exclusive? Are you going to give me $6 million worth of game sales, even though I'm only selling 3?
Right.
Or what am I doing here? Because if this is the number, and then this is what's going to come down to. If my number is 3 point something million, and that's all that ever buys it, even when it's a good year or a good game, that's all I'm getting.
Right. And then,
well, how does Square survive?
I would like to know what the actual deal is, also with Microsoft, like how much Microsoft paid to get Final Fantasy over to Xbox. I would like to, maybe we'll find out later next year when the deal goes through or whatever.
It's going to take somebody who was fucked over by Microsoft that comes out and says what the deals look like. That's the only way we're ever going to see it.
Creature says, "Where are these 100 million people?" It's not about 100 million people. What it is, there's not 100 million people buying Final Fantasy right now. There wouldn't be. We looked at the past sales for Final Fantasy a couple weeks ago, right? Where when Final Fantasy 15 came out, it was like 4 million copies and like. It was 5 million copies and like 2.5 million copies on Xbox, which made a total of like 7.5 or 8 million copies, right? So they had double the sales on PlayStation than they did on Xbox, but they still made an additional $2.5 million or million copies, I should say. Yeah, million sales from Xbox, right? The potential, right? If you're a person and I come in to I want your business. And I'm like, well, I want you exclusive for my thing. What's your clientele? Well, there's 100 people to come into my store, right? 100 people come into your store. Okay, great. That's 100 sales. Guaranteed. Great. Okay, great. They're all going to buy your stuff because it's 100 sales. But if the other person has a potential of 1,000 people that could potentially buy, and yeah, maybe only 50 people buy, that's still 50 additional people that can buy my stuff that weren't buying my stuff at the other location, right? So they want to open it up. And I can't bring this up for some reason. Let me see if I can. It's small. I can't open it up. I guess I could open it up. That's gonna screw stuff up. All right, we'll just put it up on the screen, right? This could be tiny, but this thing right here, this is the user bases that are on these platforms. Okay. Now, again, this is not saying that all of these people are going to pick up Starfield. Okay, but this is the potential of what Starfield could get, where PlayStation 4 right now is just 122 million on PlayStation 4s, and there's 40 million, 41 million, whatever, PlayStation 5. So you have a total user base of 100, we'll just say 170 million like players that could potentially buy something, let's say Final Fantasy. Now, with Starfield, because they're not going on PlayStation, they're only staying on Microsoft, they have 21 million users playing on console, right, which is half of what PlayStation has. But then they have 3.5 million of handheld consoles that Starfield can also play on, right? Then they have 25/30 plus million Xbox game subscribers that could potentially play the game. Then there's cloud/mobile devices out there that you could also play Starfield on because of the cloud gaming and whatnot that's going to be on there. And that's 1 billion devices, right? Now, obviously, that's not sales or anything. It's just 1 billion people could potentially play where they want to go. And then you have 135 million people playing on Steam plus Xbox app on the actual PC itself, right? So a combined total, this is a much better potential, right? So Square Enix has to look at this and go, okay, wait a minute. PlayStation, we have 170 million total. They have the little mobile device that they're getting or whatnot. And yeah, they have their streaming service as well, but they're not doing what Microsoft is doing right now. So they're behind times, and Square Enix needs to make money now, right? They're not waiting 10 more years to make money. They need to make money now, and there's more potential here, not on Xbox, but on all the devices that Xbox puts itself on, right? And Microsoft, yeah. So that's the way I would assume that they're looking at it as it's not about where these extra 100 million people are coming. This just opens it up that if you take Final Fantasy 14 and now you put that on Game Pass and there's 25 to 30 plus million there and then other 135 million people can play it on whatever, then that's more people that can pay $1 to get a microtransaction off of your Final Fantasy 14, right? Or extra baggage or the DLC. And it's just smart business for Square Enix to spread it as much as possible across the consoles instead of just the 3.3 million for Final Fantasy 16.
But I say the same thing. They were fine being in the closet this whole time. If all of a sudden now there's a deal with Microsoft, it says to me that Square has got some issues. They need to make some money.
Right. Well, Travis, you're correct, right? That Westerners don't care about JRPGs. Well, Microsoft is trying to get into that market, and Square Enix needs to broaden their market because apparently Final Fantasy 16 only sold 3.3 million copies, right? And this is their words, not mine. It undersold what they thought it was going to sell. It sold well, but it sold under what they thought it was going to sell.
Underperformed. There's the word.
There it is. Underperformed.
Underperformed.
If the development mobile and PC is simultaneous with Xbox version, I mean, I don't think it's a separate version. I truly believe it's just the version being streamed to that device. Is it not, Creature? They're not porting that device over to the mobile market. They're not porting it over to the Steam. It's literally running it on that from the cloud. Microsoft's fan base is not going to be with this because Square Enix puts things like girls and Japanese people in their games. I mean, again, it's just the potential of more sales. We'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. I mean, otherwise, why would they make the deal? Why would they make the deal to put Final Fantasy 14 MMO on Xbox if it was a bad deal?
It's not a bad deal. I think if you look at it just plainly, Square gets the exposure, and then Microsoft gets another title that they can use for a reason to have Game Pass.
Right.
Final Fantasy is a big series, right? It's not big as like saying everybody wants it like a Mario game, but it's big enough to say, hey, look at this. This is on Game Pass. Doesn't that make Game Pass worthwhile now too? And you'd be like, well, shit, yeah, Final Fantasy is a big ass title, right? That's how people would perceive it. That's the whole point, right? I'm trying to establish value. Give me $15 a month. Why? I have this, and this. Oh, it sounds like a good deal. Great. And the company goes, I don't know if I want to be on your service. And they go, all right, well, we're going to give you $6 million up front, and depending on how many people play your game, we'll do a bonus of $2 to $3 million a month, depending. And they're like, Jay, that sounds interesting.
Oh, Creature's talking about the buyout.
How long does it go for? How long does it go for? Right? All kinds of deals can be had here, right? But apparently, Square needs money. Otherwise,
right.
Square wouldn't be making a deal. Square would just be happy with its normal people buying its normal game every so many years, right?
Right.
Everything should be fine, right? Apparently, it's not. Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking.
Right. I think if they don't get bought out, you might be right, Creature. Maybe they don't buy. Microsoft doesn't buy them. I'm just saying it would behoove them if they wanted to get picked up because for some reason they need the money, right? And they want to get picked up and bought. I think it would get picked up by Microsoft rather than Sony, right? Because if they go with Sony, they're in the same boat they've been in the last decade or so, where they're only on Sony. Where now if they deal with Microsoft and Microsoft picks them up, obviously we don't know what they'll do, but potentially it could stay on all consoles like a Call of Duty, or they go on just Microsoft like Starfield and whatnot, right? To talk what Dolphin's saying, he says Starfield is going to sell well or really well. You can't deny it. What's really well?
Not going to sell.
I think it'll sell between
it doesn't have to
3
sell.
to 5 million copies total across all the systems that it's going to be on. But what do you think, Dolphin? Do you think it's going to sell more or more people are going to play it? That's the question. Do you think more people are going to play it or more people are going to buy it? Which one do you think is going to be the greater? Which way does the gator sign go? Greater than or less than? Do you think more people will play Starfield or more people will buy Starfield? I know the answer. The answer is more people will play Starfield, less people will buy Starfield because it's on Game Pass. I've already pre-ordered Starfield. Magic Dolphin, right, as I said, insane person. Quintar says Square's heavy push for blockchain and NFTs really hurt them in the wallet. Sure. Yeah, a lot of the companies were going that way, and then all of a sudden they switched it. Creature says play, hands down. Yeah. It's not even It's not even the same. The greater than less than is going to be greater than more people are going to play Starfield than purchase Starfield. There's no denying that it's going to sell copies, right? Because people are just Bethesda fans.
Nowhere near as many copies as their previous games, though.
Right.
I'll let you know right now. I guarantee you, Starfield sales numbers won't surpass Skyrim.
Well,
because it's on Game Pass.
Well, here, let me look up. Right, we looked this up a couple weeks ago. Fallout 3, total sales, right? Total sales, and this is on all systems, right? All systems. Total sales for Fallout 3. It's not showing up with that. Fallout 3 copies sold. This is when they kept. Okay, 12.4 million copies sold for Fallout 3, and that was on all systems. Okay, Fallout 4 sold 12 million as well. Okay, Elder Scrolls Online sold 18 million copies, and Elder Scrolls Skyrim sold 30 million copies. But that's 30 million copies on everything. Okay,
yeah.
Starfield is not going to come anywhere close to selling 12 million copies because
Game Pass.
Microsoft is pushing it on Game Pass, right? So let's just go on to the next story here, right? The next story, we'll pass these Boulder Gate ones real fast, and we'll go to this. Okay, this right here is everything you need to know about Microsoft, right? You can go back to Generation X Gaming. I think it's like 175 that I found. It could even go earlier than this, but in episode 175, I talk about how Xbox is not even in the same ballpark anymore as Sony. They don't care about sales of consoles. They just want to sell Game Pass. Here we are, many episodes later, because we're in episode 360. That's 175. It's at least 4 or 5 years ago. 4 years ago. I think it was 2019, like early on. Okay. And here we are, where Samsung is now doing an advertisement for you don't need a console. It says right there, no console required, right? Microsoft doesn't care about selling consoles, okay? So if you think for 1 second that Starfield is going to sell more than 12 million copies, there's only 21 million copies of an Xbox Series S/X out there. So you're saying 50% of the player base that bought Fallout 3, 12.4, and then 12.5 for Fallout 4, and 30 million people that bought Skyrim on all systems, you're telling me that all those people are now going to pick up an Xbox and they're going to purchase this game for $70, okay, which will be 100% almost everyone that owns an Xbox is going to buy Starfield. It's not happening. It's not happening. 2 million, 3 million, maybe 4 million, right? Maybe 4 million. And everybody else will pay the $10, $16, and try it on Game Pass. There's no way it's going to sell. And that's designed that way. That is designed that way. So much so that it's designed that way, which I also said this about a year and a half ago. And Sarge also said this a year and a half ago, right? Microsoft raised Game Pass by $1 and $2, okay, for particular things. They took everyone from Gold and made them into Game Pass members now, okay, with Game Pass Core. And then they're now shortening the deal of the dollar. Okay, the $1 Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass trials are now 14 days. They cut it in half, okay, because they know this game is a franchise that's going to sell Xboxes or sell Game Pass, right? And Game Pass is the future of what Microsoft is trying to do. Okay, this is not me working for Microsoft. Look, read the writing on the wall, right? 5 years ago, I said it, and I'm saying it still to this day. They don't care if Starfield sells. They want people to come to Game Pass. And every time someone buys Starfield, it's still a win. They still make that money, okay? But now a streamer that gets the 5 days early access because now they paid for it, that's a win for Microsoft because now the person that paid $70, $80, $90, $120 for the collector's edition to get the early access 5 days earlier than everybody else is now an advertiser. for Starfield, for the game, for people to go, oh, wow, what's that, $70, $90? I don't really want that, but Game Pass, $10, $1, 14-day trial, right? Do we find this is just a little odd that all of a sudden they push Starfield back 1 year, okay, almost 1 year, 10 months later? They raised the price of Game Pass by $1, $2. They shortened the dollar from 1 month to 14 days. They make an Xbox Game Pass core system to put in right before Starfield comes out. Come on. There's no way in hell Starfield has a greater than sign on sales than people playing. There's no way. So, what do you think of this, Sarge? Of the selling the 14-day trial now for $1 and also raising the prices. Coincidence?
It was only a matter of time.
Right.
I mean, how that dollar thing was going on for a long time, bro. On and off for probably 5 years. The dollar thing.
Oh yeah.
People taking advantage of the dollar
yeah,
thing.
People stacked it. They stacked it.
Yeah. Like we knew it eventually was going to come, but let's be honest. Can you finish a game in 15 days?
Not a game like this, you can't.
Nope.
Here's even better.
I got you for at least a month.
Do you think that the reviewers will have time to tell you about the entire game before it launches the 5 days early access, before it comes out to the rest of the public?
Two, maybe 3 streamers will do it. They'll do the 48-hour craziness. They'll drink a bunch of case of Red Bull or a case of Monster and just fucking go. They'll do it.
They'll tell you the story.
Not a majority, but there'll be 2 or 3 of them.
Krebsy says, for the amount of 30 has to cover this topic, we should just make a video and have him save his breath. Nah. It's better this way. So, let's see what else. The Starfield, what do you think of this, Sarge? They literally just come out blatantly say it. No console require.
Yeah, but then you see the writing on the wall. I mean, Halo's not on the box anymore. It's Starfield. Right?
Yeah.
Starfield's front and center. It's basically like a replacement. Like you got rid of Halo completely. Now Starfield's on the box. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah, but Starfield's the hot item now. Soon as Starfield wears off, it's the next thing to push Game Pass, right? It's the next thing to push.
They'll have to change the cover on the box again and put something else on the box. You think that's what's going to happen?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
yeah.
Let's be honest though. Whatever game comes out, like I don't know, what's another Fable. Fable's going to be that next game. Whenever Fable's ready to come out, Fable will be on the box. Fable will be on the Samsung television. They will advertise, and that will be the next franchise game that they're pushing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's that franchise anymore.
They're already talking about the TVs playing. You're playing video games on your TV, right? The Samsung TV, right?
Yep, that's what the ad says right here. Stand by for Starfield on Samsung TV. No console required. Play hundreds of high quality games with Game Pass. Yep.
Game, set, match. Thanks very much for playing. We'll see you next week, guys.
Yeah. So I find it funny that people are now catching on. Okay, because again,
they're 5 years behind, bro. Don't worry.
4. We'll say 4. 4 years behind. Okay, 4 years behind because this is the future. This is your future, everyone. This is our future for gamers. This is it. Because if it's not Xbox doing streaming, it's Amazon. If it's not Amazon, it's Google. If it's not Google, it's PlayStation. And this is where it is, right? You're no longer going to need a set-top box. I think we talked about this, multiple
times over the last couple of years.
There was someone that came into my stream back in like 2016, I think. Okay. I remember it clear. It was a clear night. Okay. My son was sleeping. He was like 2 years old. Someone came in and said, the next Xbox system will just be cloud. And I said, I don't know about the next one. I said, but I can see it happening soon. Right. And here we are, right? 9 years later.
Closer.
Right? 8 years later, we're at the point where now Xbox is just a controller. You just have a controller and you pop it in. Now, a lot of people this won't be fans of because they want to have a console. They want to put the thing in the disc. They want to have some physical thing. But now you're just buying. Now you're buying an expensive television. Do we know how much this television costs? Is it any model of Samsung or is it a certain model? I haven't even looked it up because I'm not there yet. It'll be another like 5 years before I buy Like, just imagine the next Xbox, Sarge. You're like, yeah, I'm not buying an Xbox. I just bought a Samsung TV. And then you're going to have a Samsung TV for Xbox, and you're going to have a Sony TV for your PlayStation. And then your Nintendo is going to make a projector. You're going to have, instead of like different boxes now, you're going to have different television sets in your house because they don't want to talk and communicate with each other because they're competitors, right? And it's all be about cloud gaming, right? So you're going to have a Sony television, and people are going to be like, well, Sony's processor power for the cloud is better than Xbox, and Xbox is better than blah, 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 blah. It's going to be like, just who cares at that point, right? Who cares? Buy your physical copies while they last. They're gone. You can't buy physical copies anymore. I had to search on the internet to get a game from 2010. They don't exist anymore. You can't find them. They don't let you buy it anymore, right? They just don't exist anymore. Crazy. All I know is Game Pass makes me sad. I hear you, Krebsy, right? I'm on the same page as you, right? As the industry, I don't like Game Pass. As a gamer right now, as a father with an 8-year-old turning 9 this month, Game Pass is a huge, valuable asset to my son and to my wallet, okay? Like, every time a game comes out, but here's the thing, right? Every time a game he sees, he's like, is that coming to Game Pass? Like, he saw me play Boulder's Gate. He's like, is that on Game Pass? I'm like, no, it's not on Game Pass, right? Like, everything. They're making the youth just, that's the first words out of their mouth. Oh, it's on Xbox? Is it on Game Pass? Right? Like, that's the first thing out of their head. Is it on Game Pass? Game Pass, right? That's it. And in the long run, they're going to win, right? I don't hear people say that have PlayStation. Is it on PlayStation Plus? Right? Anybody in chat say that? Is the game on PlayStation Plus? When's it coming to PlayStation Plus? I never hear anyone say it, right? But you see a game, new trailer comes out for any game. They're like, they're on Game Pass, right? That's the first thing out of their mouth. Creature says, PCs won't be laughing, I assure you. More PC players are getting Game Pass than actual console players. What do you think sells more, Sarge? Actually, this is a good question. Chat, there's a question for you as well. This holiday season, are there more Samsung televisions bought or Xbox Series whatever? Do you think more consoles will sell this holiday season or Samsung televisions will sell this season?
I'm going with TVs.
I think I'm going to go with TVs as well. I think more Samsung televisions will be purchased this holiday season than a console. Travis says neither is good. Neither. Sad reality of cloud and streaming will be the future. Yeah, it's sad. So they've been doing the Samsung since 2021.
It'll be sad until the download rate is so ridiculous that everyone's like, I can't believe this is real.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it's going to be. Right? Everyone thinks this cloud is this clusterfuck, but when it's not a clusterfuck anymore, and there's no more data pinches anymore, they're just like, okay, it's time. We can't contain this. In order for us to charge people what we want to charge them and show them what we can actually do, we got to take the limits off these. They call up the cable companies like, enough's enough. Just let it go.
Creature, it's funny that you say that, where you say you can't pay my kids to touch a PC. Dabstick, one of our community members, said that he tried to sell his laptop. He went to a pawn shop to sell his laptop, right? Or he didn't sell his laptop. He was trying to sell his AOG. I think that's what it's called. And the pawn shop was like, we'll give you whatever money for it. They were interested in the Steam Deck, and they were going to give him more money for the Steam Deck, okay? But for laptops, they said no one's buying laptops. Laptops are worthless, okay? Laptops, no one's buying laptops. No one wants to sell.
And why aren't they buying laptops?
I just don't know. And then PCs are too expensive, right, for kids. So they're going for the handheld units now, right, for like the Steam Deck, or they're going for the AOG, or they're going for the potato, or they get they're around that $500 price range, right? So if you can get a Steam Deck, or if you can get something else for a cheaper price. So a lot of people, I don't think, want to play that stuff. They just want to get consoles, but consoles are not selling very well. And yeah, the TV sales, okay, that people are not just buying the television for Xbox. What I'm saying is people will buy a Samsung TV because the Super Bowl, right? Or whatever sporting event's happening. They're like, oh, I need a new TV. And they get the TV and Samsung's it. and then all of a sudden it just happens to have Game Pass on there, right?
Oops.
Yeah. What? I have a gaming system now on my TV? That's crazy. Wait, for $1?
And it'll keep reminding you. It'll remind you like every couple days.
Oh yeah, for
Don't
sure.
forget Game Pass is on your TV.
Yeah.
Only $1 for 15 days.
Nudge, wink, wink.
Right.
Yeah.
You know it. You know it'll be there.
Yeah.
Right. Even parents are gonna be like, "What's this Game Pass for $1 for 15 days? Maybe Timmy will like it."
Yeah. Here's how it breaks down. Right. Kid in house goes, "We have Game Pass? Oh no, you have to pay for that. Wait a minute. I can play video games now on the television set for $1 for 14 days, and then I pay $10. Mom, come on, Dad. I don't have to pay. You don't have to pay $300 anymore. We can't afford it." And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, sure. Here you go. Here, Timmy. Here's Sarah."
Boom.
There you go. There's Game Pass.
In the box. You're in the box.
Right. They're buying Xboxes without knowing. Exactly, Dolphin. It's a trap. It's a trap. What else we got here? All right, we got Baldur's Gate topics here. There's a lot of Baldur's Gate topics, Sarge. A lot of Baldur's Gate topics. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button. Okay? Hit that like button. Baldur's Gate 3 is already one of the most popular games in Steam history. Peak players right now is 814,000 people hit over the weekend.
Which is great, which is amazing for RPG.
Yep. Baldur's Gate 3's boss talks future games and Microsoft acquisition chances. Now, let me read this real fast. Right? So, third paragraph using it. He was labeled that Microsoft leaked interest in as flattering, but dismissed the possibility of selling the company, which is why he and his wife have been controlling the majority of the shareholders since the humble beginnings in 1996. Now, speaking to Bloomberg, the executive said that while he was getting older, he's also not done making games, which is why he wouldn't entertain any bids for the time being. Now, what I hear there is...
Which means he's already been approached.
That's right, multiple times, and the number's not there yet, right? His number that's in his head hasn't been hit yet, right?
Yep.
So this Baldur's Gate 3 is definitely going to raise that price. So when he wants to sell it, they can cash in, right? Because of Baldur's Gate 3. So elaborating on his future plans, he says he still hasn't decided on his next project, presumably because the company remains focused on finishing the PlayStation 5 version and the Xbox Series X and S ports for Baldur's Gate 3. Once the visions are out, it's quite likely that the developer will set sights on a smaller scale title, and also revealing that he's not eager to commit another 6 years out of his life to a single game. Now, following the same train of thought, the executive also suggested that the Reign might tackle multiple smaller projects at once after Baldur's Gate 3 reaches all the target platforms. Now, I think this is that game for them, as like Fortnite was for Epic, right? Or BattleBit was for the independent guys, where now that they've made the money off of this game, now they can go do other things with the money that they made from Baldur's Gate, right? So that's story number 2 for Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate is 3's character customization sets a high bar for future fantasy titles. Okay, so one of the most important aspects of RPG is the player's identity, and it seems like Baldur's Gate 3 understood that. Now, Lorraine Studios has given players control of virtually every single aspect of the character and has let them be whoever they want. It takes all the hallmarks of Dungeons & Dragons and throws it into a game for no new type of RPG character creator that fans have flocked to. This freedom has helped Baldur's Gate 3 set itself apart from the crowd, and future fantasy games may need to follow this lead. Right? This is one of the things that people are talking about, because they're like, well, you can't expect that from us, from another studio, right? So character creation has come a long way, and since the early days of RPG genre, Baldur's Gate 3 has taken it a step further. Players want to have limitless control over the adventures of Lorraine Studios was mostly able to deliver, and if it has created a fantastic RPG that proven possible to follow, okay, especially in the future titles within the genre, leave a customizable ability to cut the cutting room floor. Now, just like most RPG players are thrown into Baldur's Gate 3, the character creation screen after a brief cutscene introduces the premise, while the character, let me bring this up on the screen so you guys can, may also not have all the sliders and a Bethesda RPG has. Now, it does give players a plethora of options and characters, and they also control everything from the physical features and the class to be the background and specific stat bonuses. Pretty much every aspect of the character can be altered to fit the player's desire, and some may even spend hours trying to build their perfect protagonist. Now, one of the most important parts of the character is the physical features, and Baldur's Gate 3 lets players edit almost everything they can see. They also must first choose their race and sub-race from losing the list of options before they begin to customizing the actual character. Now, once the player are happy with the Baldur's Gate 3 character physical features, they will be able to then customize every other aspect of the character that they must choose whatever special bonuses their race gets, their class, their subclass, their stats, their starting abilities, and even their background. Each of their choices significantly impact the way the players approach every situation and go a long way with making these characters feel more alive. Yeah, this is what I really like about the game. Like it really like brings you in. Like you feel like you're part of the world.
That's
So
what a role-playing game is supposed to be.
right. So I don't need to read on and on because basically it's just saying. So the conversation I want to have, we still have 3 other stories, 4 other titles here for Baldur's Gate. But Sarge, I want to ask you the talk of other studios, other developers are saying that you can't hold us to the standards of what Baldur's Gate is. What do you say to these developers? What do you say to the industry?
I'm sorry that you don't have guys on your team that can actually do that kind of game. It doesn't mean that we're supposed to ignore the fact that they raise the bar for what an RPG is supposed to be
Right.
in today's world without causing MTXs, games as a service. It's a game in a box. You buy the game. This is the game. This is what we created. If we can't hold you to that standard, that's great. What that says to me is you don't have talented people on your team that can actually make a game like that, which means if I want an RPG game, I'm gonna knock on Lorian's door and ask what the next game's gonna be. No problem. Like I'm not asking EA to make the next Baldur's Gate. I'm not asking anybody to make another RPG. You guys are saying to me that you can't be held responsible because you can't do that. That's great. Then don't make it. Then don't make that
Right.
game. Great. You can't make that game? Wonderful. Don't waste my time. Don't waste your time. Let the people who know how to make that kind of game make that kind of game. No problem. We're good. That sounds to me like problem solved. You don't want us to hold you to that standard? No worries. Anytime I ever hear about you coming out with an RPG game, I'm never looking at it.
Yeah,
I'm never looking at it.
if you have a game, what game didn't have loadouts? Oh wait, Destiny didn't have loadouts, right? If a game came out and put loadouts in a game, and then after that fact, you're like, all games should have loadouts, and then the game that comes out that's just like every other game, but it doesn't have loadouts, that's a fail, right? That's a fail. Like that should be the bar that was set that all games like this should now have loadouts in the thing. And to say that you can't expect us, sure, we can't expect you to do anything, but when it comes to looking at other games and then looking at your game that comes out and go, oh, they didn't have targeted loot for the loot-based game. They didn't have loadouts for the loot-based game for where I'm constantly changing my stuff. Then that's a fail from that game. Then you need to rethink what you need to do because now the game has changed, right? For RPGs, they've set a new standard for certain things, and now certain people will hit it, and certain people will just go above it and whatnot, and that's how competition is formed, right? Like, obviously, if a basketball player shot, I think there's a story with Larry Bird, where he was the guy on his team. I forget, maybe someone in chat knows. I forget the guy he was going on his team was shooting and scored like 55 points. And Larry Bird said you should stay in and continue. He said, "Nah, I'm good," right? Because no one scored that high before. And Larry Bird said to him, "I'm going to beat it." So like a couple days later, he came in. And he outscored the guy who set the record for score, right? And that's competition. He set the new standard, so it's now 60 points or 66 points. And then someone else is like, I'm going to get more than you and drive, and give that drive, and you can't expect me to score more than, right? And that's the competition that pushes people forward.
Whoever says that, I'm not buying any more games from you because you don't want to try. Whatever company says we can't be held to that standard, I'm not buying any more games from you.
Right, well, Creature just said it.
Right then and there. I'm not buying whatever you make. I'm not buying it because you guys don't want to try. You don't want it to be too hard. You just want to. I want to do a game, but like God, I don't want to have to like do a good job. Like, fine, no problem, bro. No problem. Another game off the list. Another company I won't buy anything from. This will be great. I'll save tons of money this next couple of years. I'll buy something else.
Yeah, Creature says telling me that you can't hold you to a standard that's like been set as you're telling me that you don't want my business. Yeah. If you tell me that I can't be bothered to do something that's better for the game, then
too hard.
Yeah,
too hard. Like you know the world is fucked when the company, not the individual, is saying it's just too hard. We don't want to do it.
Right.
That's cancer. That's cancer inside a company. You probably should restructure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You should probably let go of some people, because anybody who talks that way and you're in a business to make money don't belong there.
Well, Quintars just says it.
There.
That game will be on Game Pass. That's right. If the game can't hit the standards of Baldur's Gate 3, then it'll just be on Game Pass. It doesn't really matter anyway, right?
Yeah.
So another thing, Baldur's Gate 3 is it's a single-player RPG with no microtransactions. They said they don't want to put microtransactions at all, and they said they probably won't even put DLC because there's just so much stuff to do in the game that it's a complete. It's just
like the DLC's inside there.
Yeah, the whole thing is in there, right?
You have to find it. Yeah,
it's beating just about every game on Steam right now. Every game. Doesn't matter if it's a live service game, a MOBA game, like just the popularity of it. It's beating almost every game out there. And when you think RPG and when you think Dungeons and Dragons, right? I'll tell you, know who's thinking about rethinking what their strategy was? Wizards of the Coast, right? Remember they were changing all their stuff because they're like, who's playing D&D, right? And then 50 million people like boycotted it and started making their own things. And now Baldur's Gate is a D&D on video game format. Wizards of the Coast is like, holy shit, why did we make a video game?
Well, they paid Wizards for the license.
Sure, yeah, because they wanted, yeah. But what I'm saying is they can't do it better. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't do it, and they're losing out. Yeah, sure, they got the license, but they're losing out on sales of D&D games.
It's called talent. I don't know what I don't even know what the discussion is anymore. Somebody came out with one of the best RPG games in the last 10 years, and they're talking down on it like it's something that they can't look at because we can't be held to that. Like, you don't understand the kind of conversation that starts. Like, it makes zero sense to even speak that way about something in the industry that is beneficial for the industry. That's how corrupt it is. The one ray of shining light in the darkness that is this last 8 years, and they want to snuff out the light immediately because they don't want that to succeed.
Right.
Are you guys don't see it? Like, do you guys not see the reactions for what a good game is and what their reaction is? Instead of praising it, they shun it. Like, you don't get it. You don't get what's happening. You think this is from this point on, right? From this point on, I trust no game company. I buy nothing day one, and I don't give a shit what the marketing department does for any studio. The game speaks for itself. I'm done listening to everyone. Honest to God, I don't care what anyone says about any game, right? The games now speak for themselves.
They always spoke for themselves.
No, they don't. Marketing speaks for them, and the kid who can't wait a year or more to play a game because his entertainment value is so stressful that he needs to have that game, and so you're gonna give them the money for the piece of shit game instead of not buying it. Don't fucking buy it and let them sweat. That's the whole game.
Yeah.
Let them sweat. Okay. 100% from now on, 100% from now on, if a game sucks 100% now, it is the player's fault.
Right.
100%.
So
I'm not blaming devs anymore, because if you keep buying the piece of shit game, they just make a new piece of shit game. So from now on, anybody that comes in here and complains about a game that they bought, did you buy it day one? Leave the room.
Yeah.
Leave the room. We're not talking anymore, right? It's up to the consumer to decide what the standard is. We don't like it, we're not buying it. You want microtransactions to stop? Like, literally stop? Don't buy the game at all.
Yep.
Like, don't buy it. Not for a second, not for a minute. Don't download it. No free trial. Just send them the finger, like an actual picture of just your finger, and let them sweat it out.
Yeah.
You'll see how fast the game changes.
The next Boulder Gate thing is Boulder Gate 3 is closing in on Hogwarts Legacy's Steam record. Now, Hogwarts Legacy sent a record earlier this year with 879,000 players playing playing Hogwarts Legacy at the concurrent. Baldur's Gate's at 814,000. I think they will beat it. I think they'll beat it, Hogwarts, which is crazy because it's like just the example I just said with the basketball analogy, right? Where one person scored a high-end score, and then someone just a couple days later, this has never been done before, and then all of a sudden 2 days later someone beats the record. That's what you're having with Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy came out and said 879,000 people concurrent, and then Baldur's Gate comes out later in the year and they're like 814,000. They're so close to pushing past that point for it. So, and then the last Baldur's Gate story that we have here is that Baldur's Gate Well, I'm sorry. Baldur's Gate also enters the top 10 of all time Steam games, knocking Apex Legends out of the top 10. Okay, and then Save Scum. Now, Baldur's Gate 3 reignites the age-old Save Scum debate. Okay, this is not really a debate. I think this is stupid. I talked about this earlier, so if you guys want to know what I said, just watch my stream earlier today. But Sarge, you wanted to talk about this, right? You said this morning, you're like, we want to talk about this tonight. So what do you think about Save Scumming, right? What do you think? Because a lot of people on the internet are like, it's bad. You can't do that. Like, the people in a single-player game are upset that someone else that's playing a single-player game somewhere else in the world is not playing the game the same way they are.
First of all, the originations of Save Scumming was not just because you made a wrong decision, right? And you wanted to reload. It was the fact that there were certain parts in the game that up to that point, if I didn't have a quick save or a save to go back to, you were looking at 2 or 3 hours worth of content that you'd have to redo in order to get to the outcome you really wanted. So over time, they allowed players to do the quick saves. And so in case a vital thing that they misclicked or whatever during the story, if they hit it, they had a way of going back. That's original.
Right.
On top of that, it's like putting your fingers in the pages of the You Pick Your Own Adventure book. And if you didn't like that decision you made and you died, then you just went back to that one and you continued on.
What is this book you're talking about? What are books?
Who cares? It's your own fucking game, right? For me, the save scumming was when I leveled up a player. I would save before the level up, and then I would hit level up. If I was a warrior and I rolled a D fucking 12 for hit points, and I got 2 hit points for a fucking warrior, I'm fucking re-rolling. Like, that's how this fucking works, bro. I'm not gonna sit around and have a warrior at level 5 that has 12 hit points and I get killed every 10 seconds because you think the purity of the game is fucked up. Go fuck yourself. Like, what the fuck is the matter with you people? It's my fucking game, right? If I want to reload the game, I decide I don't like the story, I want to be a dick for a second and see what the dick move did, and I don't like it, I go back. Fuck you, I don't care. What the fuck does it matter? You little pansies flying around. I'm a purist. I got news for you. The game has the setting. It says hardcore. It says hardcore. You pick hardcore, and whatever happens now is fucking concrete. Are you happy now, you whiny bitch? It doesn't fucking matter.
I think Sarge,
done with these fucking it's a made up fucking story, bro. It's made up to create conflict where there's no conflict. Save scumming was something that would happen. I already told you before, but when games were fucking long and you had to fucking make a decision, and if I had to go back, it was 2 fucking hours. Now it's 2 fucking seconds.
Right.
That's what save scumming is. My warrior has 10 hit points. That's great. What level is he? 6. You might as well just turn the fucking game off. Because the minute you fight a battle with one level 5 guy and he hits you once, your fucking guy's dead. Well, how fun is that? How fun is that? How fun is that?
They literally put it in the game where you just hit F5 and it does a quick save. F5 is a quick save. That's what it is.
Bro, I'm tired of listening to all these fucking people, man. You have no concept. They have no concept what it was to sit around and play a game for hours on end, have to have pad and pencil, write down the guy's name, write down shit, write down maps, all kinds of shit you had to do back in the old school for role-playing games, like to keep track of where you were. Everything now, mapped,
you would get
graded.
You would get graph paper.
You could be playing the hardest boss ever and still be jerking off to porn, right? You don't even have to be there. You don't even have to be there for the battle. Everything's automated. Oh, hang on, I'm gonna rub one out and then kill this boss. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. No concept of anything. Save scumming. Get the fuck out of here.
We used to literally have to use graph paper to map out the map where we're playing through games. We're like, okay, this is this map. We're going left. Okay, we have to.
You think it, listen, all games like that have it. XCOM had the same thing, right? You didn't like what happened to your guy. You play hardcore mode. If your guy dies, he's dead. That's it. He's dead.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to play that way, there's the option. But it's not called save scumming because it ruins the purity of the game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ruin the purity of the game. Whose game am I ruining?
That's the point.
Are you the fucking? You're the fun police now. You're gonna keep going to everyone's house. Hey, did you save scum on your RPG today? Like, who are you, tough guy? Like, what does it matter?
It's funny.
What does it matter?
Like if people choose to play through the game and don't want to save scum, by all means, go ahead. And if you want to save scum, by all means, go ahead. It's your game. That's the greatest part. Like, I bought a game and now I'm gonna play. Like, if I buy a game and I just want to use it as a coaster, I could do that. Right? I could do that. I could just use it as a coaster.
My fucking game.
It's my game. Right? And the way I want to play it, it's just insane to me that people like I saw it on Twitter, Sarge. I saw it on Twitter and people just complain. I think at this point, people just like to complain, not because they actually give a shit about the actual thing.
Suffice it to state, the guy that actually is yelling at you for Save Scumming is somebody you would never have a drink with in a bar. Like, if someone's telling you how 100%. To play your game, right, that is someone you would never have a drink with in a bar and sit and talk with.
Can you imagine having a conversation with someone and be like, so, what have you been playing lately? Oh, I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I had this conversation, and I didn't like the way it went, so I reloaded it. And they're like, you what? Puts his drink down, is like, how dare you? Right? And like gets up and leaves because you saved scum. He's like, you fucking save scum? And then you get home and you're like, I think I pissed Timmy off. And they're like, what do you mean? What happened? And they're like, I don't know. I think he got mad at me because I saved scum. And he's like, wait, he's mad at you because you saved your single player game in a way that you didn't want to? It's so ridiculous. So ridiculous. So you want to speak any more of that, Sarge?
You go ahead. You pick whatever topic you want about it.
Okay, I think I will.
But it's not even an actual discussion point. It's a bunch of crybabies crying about something that doesn't exist.
I'm gonna go back to one of the old stories. I just Save Scummed our thing. I'm gonna go back to another story that we were supposed to do beforehand.
Go back to that.
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about, or a couple weeks, I guess a couple months ago, I think it was like May or April, we talked about how ChatGPT was someone did a Skyrim mod where they were implementing the mod inside of Skyrim, and then you could talk to the NPCs. The NPCs would like talk to you. So now we have while GTA 5 mod adds NPCs you can actually talk to. Okay, a recent release, a Grand Theft Auto 5 mod allows players to use a microphone and actually talk to NPCs with the aid of AI. Okay, so the Curious Grand Theft Auto 5 mod will make Los Santos even more immersive by adding the option of having conversations with the NPCs using a microphone. The new mod uses artificial intelligence, and like many other projects that are employing generative AI, it shows the gamers a glimpse of what the future of gaming may be. I hope they don't do this, Sarge, because the other developers might hold them to the standards of making other games like this. I don't know. So ever since ChatGPT was released and exploded on the popularity last year, the world has been in an AI craze. Suddenly, there's been tools promising automations for essentially everything, with results of ranging from pretty good, lukewarm, and the gaming world would obviously not be left out of the trend. And several modders started using the AI to create new content on the spot for gamers. Now, the modder called Block recently released a new story mod for GTA 5 called Sentient Streets. And the mod is powered by over 30 AI models that allow gamers to actually talk to characters by using a microphone to ask questions. This is like Police Quest and like King's Quest, like next level, right? Because you used to just type and then they would get back to you, right? They would talk back to you. Now you're actually just asking and talking to people. So the AI is tuned into actual voice response, which generate the AI text-to-speech programs. According to the creator, players will be able to have an open-ended conversation with characters in real time, improving the game's immersion with role-playing elements. Okay, that's insane. So it comes with your own story, which involves the weird, deadly cult called Hilarious, and also the cult convinced they live within the game and also worship the AI as their god. That's pretty funny. And the player will also control a police officer in Los Santos who will be investigating some of the crimes happening and freely be able to talk to other police officers and cultists. For example, it's possible to ask people's names and learn more about the background, the opinions, and also so on. Different characters come with distinct personalities, and they act really lifelike, despite talking with a few seconds to process the information before answering the player. The results are pretty impressive, and the mod looks like a perfect experience for players who want to improve their experience with GTA 5 mods. What do you think about this, Sarge? Where you can now literally talk to any NPC in this mod, and they'll talk back to you and have conversations. I see a lot of dates with people in GTA world. I think they're gonna.
Harry,
can you imagine? What's the first thing? Think like a real pervert, Sarge. What's the first thing you do in Grand Theft Auto 5 if you could talk to somebody?
I would talk about how to rob a bank.
No, I would go to the strip club. I would go to the strip club.
No.
That's what people are doing.
I've done that so many times.
That's what people are doing. You know, they're going to the strip club and
I
talking to the strippers.
I got news for you, kids. It's time for you to get out of the house and actually go to a strip club and talk to the strippers instead of talking to the AI strippers in the game.
Yeah.
Right? It's time to get the hell out of the house and put your balls where your mouth is. Right? That's what it's time for.
That's what's gonna happen. People are like, "Did you see? I was having a conversation with one of the strippers." You're gonna see that happening. I think it. Look, I said this a couple months ago. I said this is exponentially gonna get faster and faster. Just before it was robots sounding whatever, and people are putting in. And now, just a couple months later, a guy created where you can talk to the NPCs, and these are just solo projects. This is a guy doing this in his basement somewhere, maybe an attic, okay? But he's doing this by himself and not a team of people, okay? So what could a team of people that have this technology that they could do put together? Don't want to raise the standards or anything to anything, so
limitless.
It's got to be lowered. You got to lower the bar.
It's limitless. What they could do is limitless.
Let me see. Let me see if it talks. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see if this.
The issue will be is they'll have whole conversations as padding to keep you busy in AI bullshit as opposed to the actual concrete of what's going on inside the game.
This is actually the voice. Ready? Here's what they sound like.
Officer Thompson.
And what is your first name?
The name's Frank, but around here they mostly stick to calling me Sledge.
And why is that?
Well, you see, back in my early years on the force, I had a reputation for swinging my baton like a sledgehammer, hence the nickname stuck. It's all part of the job, kid.
That's crazy, right? We'll just let it play there, right? That's insane. Okay. Now someone's gonna be like, "Well, it sounds really shitty." Right? Again, this is one guy in his basement working on a program to let this happen by himself inside Grand Theft Auto.
This is fucking month one.
This is just a couple of weeks ago where the chat sounded like garbage, and now it sounds 100 times better than it did.
Most people have no concept of how fast things are happening, and I can guarantee you, a lot of people are going to have anxiety problems pretty soon. Once a lot of this stuff comes out, because they're not going to be able to handle it.
Right.
A lot of things are going to change very quickly, and people just are going to adjust well. Like, look what's happening in real life right now with just the normal culture stuff that's going on. People can't adjust, right? People are having problems, right? Imagine an entire industry coding AI to keep you busy and in a game, right? All these mindless conversations because you want to talk to everybody, see how cool the conversations are. What do you think the conversations will lead into for you to buy something, or they're going to eat? It's all going to be manipulation. The whole thing. Oh, I spent another 6 hours in this game talking to all the NPCs. How fun was that? How was the actual game? Were the quests good? What quest? I was talking to this dude for 6 hours. It was amazing.
Right.
Right.
What did you do last night? I just hung out in Los Santos. I just talked to the citizens. I just talked to the citizens and just went around. I got to meet Maggie. Maggie's a real nice girl. I'm dating her now.
Yeah. Like that's like the beginnings of it. Like the end game of that would be for you to talk to a guy, find out that he is a criminal, find out that he has done bank jobs. Then you actually get to do a bank job with that guy.
I think this is that.
No, this is the beginnings.
No, what I'm saying, he says in this, like, you actually can interrogate people and like learn about them and then figure stuff out.
I get it, but I'm talking about where an NPC actually becomes a character in the game. Yeah, it goes from one to the other. Right? That's what we're talking about. The end game is where the game itself is living, and the quests and the things that happen are all randomized by you interacting with people, not scripted events that are in the game. That's the level we're talking about.
Travis, you say that tonight when gamers go too far. I saw some. This is back in 2005, 2006 when I played Second Life. Okay, people live when they feel comfortable and they dive into a game. Okay, like people lived inside Second Life, right? It's called Second Life, okay? It became people's first life, okay, in the world. Now, and that was actually talking to real people, right? Other real people were talking, and they would have like relationships. People got married and stuff like that with that time frame. It happened with World of Warcraft and stuff like that. Now people are so anti-people, okay? Like people don't like other people. They get scared or not, whatever, nervous. Now, if you can get an NPC in a game who sound like a real person, right? To sound like an actual person, right? People think it's funny, but there's people dating cars and robots and whatever else, right? People would literally live inside Grand Theft Auto 6 online, right? Or even just in the single-player world. If the single-player world of Grand Theft Auto 6 was just beautifully looking and whatnot, they would literally just have conversations and talk and make friends with robots in the game. This will happen. You will see a TV show, a reality show, some Netflix show, some streaming service show. You're going to see a show of people that actually date NPCs. My best friends in
AI.
Yes.
My best friends in AI.
Exactly right. It's going to happen. Mark it down. Fingers to the head. I've just predicted the future. You will see a TV show of people dating NPCs. What it's going to be, right? Oh, he just understands me. I really had a good conversation with Ted at the cafe inside Grand Theft Auto Los Santos, right? Like, that's what it'll be. It's going to be really creepy, really scary, okay? And it's going to constantly get better and learn your voice. It's going to learn other people's voices. It's going to get better dialogue. It's going to sound so real. It's going to remember when you used to call a business and it was a robot? It's like, please hold. Now you're like, hello, how are you? And you're like, I'm good. And you're like, please press 1. You're like, what the fuck? This is a robot? Like you can't even tell if it's a fake person anymore on the telephone. That's what I'm talking about. That's how the AI is going to work inside a video game. Okay. So pretty cool stuff, pretty scary stuff, but at the same time, talk about Rockstar. Let's go to the last story. The last story that we have before we go to Q&A is Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption was leading up. We were talking about it as maybe they're doing a Red Dead Redemption remastered, and people were starting to get really excited. They're like, yeah, remaster. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll even buy the remaster because I really like Red Dead. Red Dead is one of my favorite games of all time. Red Dead 2 was even better. And I was like, and then they can remaster it. And then they came out with a big, fat, old, wet fart, right? And they came out, and this is what it was supposed to be, right? So Krebsy put this in. Red Dead Redemption. He posted this from in our subminute. He didn't post this, but he posted it inside Discord. It says, remake the map in Red Dead Redemption 2 already. 60 frames per second, dual sense features, only current gen versions of PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, good PC, and Ultimate Vision. What we got was a 30 frames per second port, no 60 frames per second, no remake or remaster, and Rockstar not caring. Okay? Like, so it's getting downvoted and dislikes on the trailer for this. It's like, and on top of that, Rockstar didn't have anything to do with it. It's also another party that did this, just like they did the other version of the definitive edition of the trilogy, which was another garbage port that was happening. So what I also find funny, Sarge, is that they charge $50 for a game that came out well over a decade ago, right? And right now, you could take Red Dead Redemption and put it into your Xbox Series S and X and play it, right? But if you didn't have that on PlayStation, now they have to pay $50 for that, and Switch. Now, if you get it on Switch, that's probably your best money's worth, right? Because you didn't have it on the Switch before, and you can get it. So if you've never played Red Dead Redemption before, because you didn't own a PlayStation back then or an Xbox, you can now get it for the Switch. I don't know what the graphics are going to look like on the Switch, but I guess back in 2010, it probably wouldn't look that bad on the Switch, right? So what do you think, Sarge? $50 for a game. Now, I paid $45 for Transformers Reactivate, right? Because it's a collector's thing. But this is a brand new game that they ported out there, and they're charging $50 for it on the PlayStation. Sarge has
the nicest thing I can say is if you buy that game, you're a bad consumer. That's the nicest thing I can say.
What about if they buy it on the Switch?
I'm pretty sure you played the game if you wanted to play it, and there's still ways of playing that game without buying it on the Switch and giving them the $50.
True.
Rockstar is in the position where they make so much money, they don't have to care. This is the danger of the microtransaction economy. They don't have to care, right? They don't have to make any other games. They canceled every other game they were going to make, except Grand Theft Auto 6. They canceled them all because they just keep making content for Grand Theft Auto 5.
So
It's plain as day. If I don't have to be a better person in order for me to survive, I won't. And that is the mentality of everybody. If you don't have to do better in order for you to exist, just basic level, most people won't.
Right.
And if a game company is collecting, I don't know, $250,000 a month doing nothing, but making the same stale ass, ridiculous Hot Wheels run around the track trash inside of a game that's already 7-8 years old because they don't have to make another game because you keep buying stuff, you're a bad consumer, and that's why you got your shitty Red Dead thing for $50.
Well, Salty says that people will buy it. Yeah, people will buy it, but
easy, creature. Easy.
I don't think people I don't think people are going to in bulk. I don't think you're selling 2 million copies. I don't. I think this is just a quick. I said this a couple weeks ago. I think the remastered, not a remaster, but the release of this is just to start getting your taste buds warmed up again, right? They're coming out with this. This is just a preemptive of Rockstar is coming out with something, and they're doing this for a reason, right? Because the Rockstar fans for Grand Theft Auto, this is the dessert, or I'm sorry, this is the appetizer before the actual main meal. And the main meal is showing a logo, showing a leg, showing a gun, showing a still frame of Grand Theft Auto 6 in the next couple months. I think they'll do it in October, November, is what I've said months and months and months ago, probably a year ago. I said they'll probably talk about it in October, November, and it'll probably come out in October of 2024. So we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think they're doing.
This is an old article. From April 9th, 22, about a year and 3 months ago.
For what article?
They translate that Grand Theft Auto makes about $25 million every 10 days.
25 million every 10 days.
Every 10 days. So they about $1 billion a year.
So it's $1 million.
I went a little high.
$1.2 million a day.
High. Yeah, I went a little high. It's mental, dude. It's mental.
Travis says, I was looking getting into until realized 50. I was like, nah. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, you could play that game right now. You could probably get it on sale and pick it up, but you can't play it on your new system because PlayStation chose not to do backwards compatibility, right? They have to wait for the port. Krebsy says, it's funny that they say that they don't do ports, but yet Take-Two says, person says, we don't make ports, and then releases this. But they didn't lie. They don't make ports. Someone else made the port for them, right? Someone else made the port for them.
It's a joke, bro. It's a joke. Listen, I understand the game is badass. I understand the game is awesome. But what happens is you've sowed the seeds to where the game company no longer has to care about the consumer base because you'll buy it immediately. You will buy the game. Listen, it doesn't matter what they say or what character is male, female, transgender. It doesn't matter what the character is. As soon as Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, there are people going to buy it day one, pre-order it. You're getting it. It doesn't matter. You're getting it. You're not letting them sweat. You're not letting them say, let's see if the game's actually good. You immediately say it is. You already know you've already played it. I already gave them $25,000 the last time I played Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, you're going to play. Right?
I think
it is up to the consumer. I don't know what to tell you.
Reese says, if they said you get a sneak peek of Grand Theft Auto 6 with the purchase of Red Dead, how much would it sell? Oh, it would sell. It would sell a shit ton.
Because you guys are bad consumers. I don't know what to tell you.
It would sell a shit ton.
I don't know what to tell you.
Even though I would be like, okay, I just wait for someone to buy it and then post it online, right?
And listen, and this is how you guys act for normal marketing and overhypeness. This is how you guys still act.
Look,
what do you think is going to happen when AI is accustomed to you talking to you all day long? Like, you're going to have your own personal hype man. Yeah. You're going to have, like, Sarge's going to have his own personal AI hype man just squawking in his ear, telling him what to buy. Oh, Sarge, I can't believe you didn't get that. That's going to be flocking. You love RTSs. You're not, like, that's what you're going to hear all day long. Like, yeah, I got to get that. I got to get that.
The same thing.
Yeah, you're right.
the same thing that's happening to Destiny right now. Like, the sky is falling for Destiny fans. But as soon as they come out with the new trailer for the final stage, whatever the fuck it's called, okay, everyone's gonna forget. Rockstar put this out. People are downvoting it, disliking it, whatever. They're hating it right now. Soon as Rockstar announces, someone said this before. I don't know if it was Quintar or if it was Titan or Kylo. I forget which one it was. It was with a K. But I remember one of you guys saying if they just change their Twitter account logo, the world would stop, right? And that's the game. This is the game that they're playing right now. They put this out as a disappointment. Everyone's like, here's the problem. They gave you they gave you the problem. Now the solution is something to hype this up. Everyone will forget anything bad Rockstar has done or said soon as they give that logo or in 5 days find out. They'll be like, oh, like it's gonna be absolute mayhem when they actually announce Grand Theft Auto 6, right? That's what's gonna happen. Yeah, was it Kylo? There you go. That's what's gonna happen. How make examples do we need? How many examples do we need?
How many examples?
Oh, examples for what they're doing wrong, or how many examples have we given? Because we can give a lot of more examples.
Look, man. Listen, Rockstar's going to do Rockstar. They've achieved gaming Jesus status. It doesn't matter what they do. They made a shitty ass port about the last trilogy. Everyone gave them shit. Nobody cared. The Red Dead thing comes out, and as soon as they tell you the next game come out, you will forgive all wounds. It won't matter to you. It won't matter. I'm more terrified about my own personal hype man, my AI hype man. That's what I'm more.
That'll play games for you, Sarge. The AI hype man will play games for you.
Yeah, like I'll come home and be like, I did that hard boss for you.
I completed it for you.
No, dude, I was supposed to do that.
You're having a conversation with
Would you like me to replay it for you so I can see how I won? Oh, fuck out of here.
Here you go. Yeah, God damn it. I told you Xbox not to play it when I was gone.
Yeah, between the Sony patents for the guy to help me play my games and the AI coming out now, the list of stuff that's about to happen in the next 10 years.
10.
You guys have no
10 years. You're dreaming, Sarge. Yeah, 5. Okay. Now you're exaggerating even a little. Maybe 3 years. Yeah, the AI will beat the system for you.
Right. You're gonna have a credit card on file. Give it a limitation. And your hype man AI guy is going to play a game and buy shit for you because it thinks you like it because you gave it, after conversations, you gave it a list of things that you like. Yeah. So it's playing the MMO and buying stuff for you and playing for you, so you don't have to grind. And you come up and like, you spent $120 and it tells you why it spent $120, and you say, oh, that's a good deal, right? Your AI hype man who plays the game for you spends your money, and you're like, yeah, that's fucking great.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I bought this for you. Do you like it? Yeah, it's a personal shopper now. It's a personal shopper. And then they'll come out with a new patent. Sony patented a new thing so you could, while you're away, it chooses what it bought for you cosmetic wise.
Yeah, dude, this is all plausible. I don't understand why you think I'm making fun. This is not me making a joke,
no,
bro.
This is
real shit.
This is real.
This is real.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Is leading up. This is up into leading into Skynet, Travis. That's what that is.
Don't even want to use the assistants on my phone. I don't like this shit. Well, it's funny because we talked about it the other day because they have a new patent. Sony has a new patent where they're going to help you with stuff. So like, I picture it as what they did for God of War, right? Where in God of War, if you walked into like a cave and it's like you gotta escape from this cave, and they're like, maybe you shoot your bow at the rock, and you're like, what? No, don't. Shut up. Don't tell me how to play the game. It's like backseat gaming. Literally, backseat gaming 30 seconds within. They're like, all right, let's figure out this puzzle. They're like, you might want to look at the raft over to the left. Like, shut up. I don't want you to tell me. That's what the help is
because everybody's a mongoloid now. We've been playing games for 25 years, but I need the game to tell me how to play it.
You got to pay for the game, Sarge. Then you got to complete it as fast as possible. They're going to help you complete it as fast as possible. So then you can put it down so you can buy the next game so they can help you beat that game. Right? That's what it is. Time's a factor. You don't have time, Sarge. They're going to help you with that. You don't have time to play a game? We'll play the game for you.
Yeah, we don't want you to waste your time playing something you don't actually really want to play, but actually gave us money for. Why would we do that?
It's so funny. It's all for dum-dums. They can't figure it out shit on their own. Right. It's like 5 seconds later. It's like, okay, big puzzle here. Try to figure out. You're like, all right, I'm gonna figure out. Like right now, I've literally been stuck for 15 minutes in this puzzle for Baldur's Gate. In God of War, it would have already told me, like, maybe you should check the light. Be like,
here's the best thing, Mike. It'll be like passive aggressive. While you're playing the game, you'll hear this. You want me to tell you? Like a little sigh.
I know.
It'll
it'll be
like
we gotta.
Sure, you don't want me to tell you?
Yeah, the last guy didn't take this long, right?
Right. It's gonna goat you. It's gonna goad you. Yeah.
If I was playing the game, I would have already figured it out.
I already figured it out.
All right, fine. Tell me, AI, what it is, right? It's like you have to opt out. You can't opt in. It's already telling you. Yeah, exactly, creature. It's like,
right.
And you're like,
Believe
what?
Me,
right? And you're just like, what? What was the sigh for? And now you're having a conversation with the AI. The AI is like, nothing. If you want me to help you, just
if that's the way you want to play.
Are you sure?
Is my fucking girlfriend here? Get the fuck out of my computer.
Are you sure you want to choose that rock? Are you sure? All right, it's your game. It's your game. You could choose what you want. I told you were wrong. It's like, right?
No, bro.
Yeah,
I don't find that fun at all.
That's what's
I'm
gonna
not
be.
gonna find.
What's gonna be?
I'll go back to reading. I'll go back to reading.
Oh man, it's gonna be great, man. It's gonna be so good.
It sounds amazing. It's so convenient for the consumer. It's gonna be so convenient.
All right, we're going to Q&A. Q&A. Don't submit any more questions. We have a couple of questions. It's only 5 people. Travis has got 4 of them. Krebsy's got 3, and Dupless has got 1. There's 26. How many people are watching right now? 30 people, and we have 3 people answering multiple questions in our Q&A. Come on, people. Anyone can ask a question, and we have Travis, Krebsy, and Dupless. Oh,
fine.
Here we go.
Let's just do Travis's first.
Travis says, I already read the first one. I already answered that with the show Taskmaster. I watch all the episodes on YouTube. You can watch all the seasons on YouTube. Great show, Taskmaster. Travis also says, do you think going forward, like, will Baldur's Gate 3 be the game all other RPGs are judged by? I think we answered this already. I think I don't think Baldur's Gate. I think any game that comes out and does anything better than everything else, that's the new standard. That's the new bar.
You can put it in the box. You can say RPGs. Yeah.
Oh, sure. But what I'm saying is if a first-person shooter comes out and does something better, then that's the thing to strive for first-person shooters. And if RPGs come out and it's something better, then that's what you strive for, right? It doesn't matter. Yes. I'm just saying it doesn't matter about Baldur's Gate 3. I'm saying any game that comes out that does something better than other games, that's the new bar.
How it's supposed to work.
Yeah,
that's how it's supposed to work.
That's the new bar. Travis also asks, since you all are experts compared to my rookie, I usually tend to run characters who are more long range and close, but I prefer automatic weapons. Suggest how to build my character on Division 2. I'm not a big build guy, Travis, so I'm gonna go to Sarge on this one.
All right, so the issue you're gonna have is if you're doing long range, the aggro range for some of the guys is such that your long range rifle, you're gonna have to move back and you're gonna force guys to come to you. And a lot of the guys that spawn are the guys that run up on you. And if you have your rifle out, sometimes you won't be able to shoot them before they activate their ability or fire the grenade or the flames or whatever they got going on. So just make sure that if you're going to do long range, that you have a shotgun as your secondary, and you'll be fine. The game handles all ranges, but it's a matter of the flow and the what you get to proc on the gear for your guns to work. Like initially, when you play the game, Travis, your guns are your guns, right? It's going to tell you like the gun does 65 damage or 85 damage. And once you level up the gun completely, it might do like maybe 10% more or 15% more when you max out everything. But it's the gear you wear and the weapons you use with that gear that give you the uber damage. So play through the game normal And then once you're done with the normal game and you start looking for like the best weapons, you'll see what stats you want on a gun. And then you'll see what kind of armor set you want for that. So if you want to be ranged, then you want everything to be like crazy headshot, crazy proc with headshot, crazy damage with pulses and headshots. Like that's kind of like how you stack it. But like normally it's just going to be normal, sit back and shoot. You'll be fine. Listen, play through the game normal. Just play through the game. You'll like it. You'll find out what guns do what. That's the whole point of the game. You're not supposed to know everything hour one. Right. You're supposed to play the game for like 30, 40 hours and then figure out what this stuff does.
Before you get to end game, just play through the campaign, learn each of the classes that you like.
You can buy that stupid thing that makes you skip Warlords of New York, but I think you should play Warlords of New York because you collect all the stuff that you collect, the credits and the weapon parts and all the shade tech stuff. You need all that to level up your own guns. So play through the normal game, knock out Warlords, because you have to remember, once you go to New York, like if you're halfway through DC and then you go to New York, you're stuck in New York.
Yeah,
you can't go back to DC. So either knock out Warlords right away, or do everything in the story for DC and then do Warlords.
Yeah,
because once you go to New York, you can't leave. You're stuck there.
All right, next question.
Don't skip New York. Exactly, Creature.
Next question is Krebsy says, a few weeks off, but since you posted the Game of the Year poll, what are your top options 6 months into this year? Our poll, if you guys want to take the poll, it's on our Discord. It's open up to the general public, so anyone that's not a member of our stream, you're more than welcome to just go to our Discord, join our Discord, and you can go to the poll. And right now, my leader that I've played so far, and then also the ones I've watched, I'm really rooting for Hogwarts Legacy. Now, our poll is not who's going to win Game of the Year. It's who's going to be nominated, the 6 games that are going to be nominated for Game of the Year. My go-to right now is Hogwarts. I really, really enjoyed Hogwarts Legacy. Just top to bottom, I thought it was a really done well game. Like, I'm not a Harry Potter fan. So that's my leader there. One of the other games I enjoyed to play was Hi-Fi Rush. I don't think that's going to be nominated, or I don't think it's going to be nominated at all. I also like Jedi Survivor. I also don't think that's going to be nominated. I think that's going to miss the top 6. I don't think that's going to make it. And then let me see. I'm really enjoying Baldur's Gate, but I'm like 7.5 hours, 8 hours in, so I can't really say too much personally.
You're nowhere.
Yeah,
you're nowhere in that game.
So, but I can see that Baldur's Gate 3 winning Game of the Year, nominated and Game of the Year. It's gonna beat. I think it's gonna beat everything. What about you, Sarge? What are your first your top? For the first 6 months.
I don't like the way it's structured anymore about Game of the Year because of the way the industry is. I think what should happen to make everyone feel better about themselves, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here, but like it should be like best RPG, best action.
They have
best,
that.
Like
they have that.
Like, yeah, but you have the best in the categories.
Yep.
Right.
And then those go into the best.
And then out of those, that's the best. Those are the best. And now out of those, we do Game of the Year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't get to pick best in this genre, and then like game number 3 in another genre wins Game of the Year. Like, no. These are the best games. The best of the best wins Game of the Year. That's how it should be. Right? I think Hogwarts is definitely in the running. But Baldur's Gate, because of the complexity of what that game is and what they did with that, that's also in the running.
Dupless's question says, "What's your opinion on Bungie replacing Lance Reddick with Keith David after Lance's passing?" I mean, I don't want them to do a Marvel thing, Dupless. Like, I don't want them to kill off Zavala because the voice actor died in real life. You know what I'm saying? So I'm okay if they replace the voice actor. And you know who Keith David is, right, Sarge? It's the guy from Something About Mary. It was the father, the black father, that said, "How did you get the Frank above the beans?" That guy. You know who I'm talking about?
They want him to be the replacement.
He is the replacement for Lance.
That's not bad.
Yeah. So I'm okay with it. I mean,
he can make his octave go down lower. He could sound like
I think he's a good actor. I think it's a good replacement. Again, I don't think they should kill off Zavala because the actor in real life, like Black Panther, is no longer in Marvel because the actor died, right? Type of thing. So I don't think they should do that. So what do you think? You think he's okay, Sarge?
I don't see a problem. I think the tone of the voice is what's important, and the character that the tone of the voice is the character.
Isn't Keith David the guy from?
You have to have somebody that kind of sound. Yeah. It can sound different,
the freaking
but
Beans
it still has to portray the authority of what the character is. I think he can do it.
Yeah,
I think he can do it.
I know he's from Halo, right? He does the Halo for the I can't think of the bad guy. What the hell are the bad guys in Halo? The Harbinger.
Not the Arbiter.
Arbiter, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Right? That's what he does. I think he's fine. I think he's fine. I don't see a problem.
I mean, like they don't care enough about their characters in Destiny anyway to worry about a voice change. Like if it was something really, like if they cared enough about the character in Destiny, like they cared about Master Chief. Imagine Master Chief dying, and then them putting some nobody in there and make Master Chief sound like Mickey Mouse for 3 years.
Right.
It would be ridiculous. But your characters in Destiny don't matter. You talk to them briefly, and then they're forgotten. They're stoic. They say their shit, and then they're gone. Like all you have to do is get somebody else that sounds stoic and powerful, put them in there. Move on.
Didn't they change in Destiny 1? They had a voice actor. The Stranger. Wasn't the Stranger a different voice actress than it was in Destiny 2? I'm pretty sure it was, right? I don't even think people noticed. Let's go to the next question. Next question is back to Travis. He says, I'm curious, 30. As much as you've played Baldur's Gate 3 on par with Mass Effect 2 in terms of RPG, or not quite that good? Oh no. I can see Baldur's Gate 3 being much better than Mass Effect 2. But the difference Travis, is that I like
it's isometric and not
yes,
the third person.
It's not the third person thing, and it's also not sci-fi. It's fantasy, right? And I really like sci-fi.
But imagine the detail of Baldur's Gate 3 being inside of a Mass Effect game. Oof. That's game of the year.
Yeah, I think Baldur's Gate could be better. Again, I'm really early on, but just the way the story is like playing out and the way you're in that world. Like when I was in Mass Effect, I really loved it because like you just made your choices and stuff. And it was just like I literally teared up because I lost my whole crew when I played through Mass Effect. Right, all my favorite people just died, right? And I didn't want to save scum, right? So I let it be, and that's what it was. So I think it has potential of being better than Mass Effect 2. All right, next question. Krebsy says, how do these companies across all platforms of entertainment are idiots so high in their companies then proceed to be a nosedive in those companies? Let me read that again. How do the companies across all forms of entertainment get idiots so high in their companies then proceed to nosedive the companies? Oh, I see. Like you fail upwards. You fail upwards.
Because it's quick promises and revenue exchanged for time, right? If it took us 8 years to make 300 million, and we can do 300 million in 2 years with you know what I mean? Like their promise of what they can do, because everyone's taking the same business models, live service, MTX, like these guys who have all these ideas and say, well, I did this in this other company, I can do it for you. So if I can make more money quickly, then they hire them, right? Then their bonus structure is based around what they bring in, right? AKA look at what's his face, Mr. Kotick. Like what do you think Kotick does to get all his big money? Like think about it. Like what does he really do? Right? Does he make the big deals? Does he put the guys in charge that picks the teams? Like this Bobby Kotick supposed to get 300 million a year? Really? Come on, bro. Come on.
Kyle, you never played Mass Effect 2? Oh man. Good game.
Kylo, seriously? You never played Mass Effect 2? Come on, Kylo. Don't lie to us.
All right. Last question is from Krebsy. He says, if you could have a conversation with anyone throughout history, with who would it be, the person, and why?
I'm sorry. Repeat that. I've heard this question
if you
before.
If you could have a conversation with anyone throughout history, who would it be? Like, who would that person be and why? First person that comes to my head, I don't know why. First person that comes to my head, it's not like George Washington or Abraham Lincoln or Gandhi or anything like that. Mine is George Carlin. If I could sit down with George Carlin, all right, one, we share the same birthday, okay, or we did share the same birthday. He's no longer with us. But I would love to have a conversation with him because I just think it would be a fucking blast, and I think I would laugh my ass off. And it would be a dead serious conversation, but he would also make light of things, and he would say shit how it is. And I don't know, that's the type of person I am. So I would really appreciate a conversation with George Carlin, just because I think it would be a good conversation.
JFK, and I figured out all the bullshit why he got shot.
Would he know he got shot?
No, I would figure out why he got shot by talking to him.
By talking to him, I got you.
By talking about what he's involved in, just have a conversation about everything he did. I'd figure it out.
Be interesting. Yeah. One more question, bonus question, because Robert Jones put it in chat. I saw him put it up there, so we're gonna read it. He said, "Where is it? I lost it." Robert Jones, I lost your question. Oh, there it is. What do you think of scumming in roguelike or survival games? If it's a single player game and is it a survival game like Ark or something, or a survival game where it's a solo? If it's a single player game, I don't care about save scumming. Like, I don't. If it's like a live service game or something and you could save scum or do something, I have a little bit of an issue with that. But not really. I honestly, scumming is whatever. If you play the game how the fuck you want, you know what I mean? I honestly don't care about the... What about you, Sarge?
Say it again. What's the question?
About rogues and survival games, like scumming in those type of games, in rogue, like, or survival.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's your game.
So he says, Robert Jones says, something where the game loot is you losing shit. Yeah, well, again, if it's a single player game and let's say you do something and you lose something and you want to save so you don't lose that stuff, it's your game. Your game. Play how you want to play.
Listen, if you care about so much about save scumming, then you just pick the version where you can't change.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, it's exactly how I feel. Like, if it's a single player game, it doesn't affect anybody else in the game, then just go do what you want.
Trust me when I say this. If you're level 5 and you roll and you're rolling a D12 for hit points for a warrior, and you roll a 2, a 3, a 1, a 4, and you get to level 6 and you die all the time, I'm pretty sure save scumming is in your wheelhouse.
Yeah,
right. You don't understand how this works. Right? Nobody wants to be a 6'10" barbarian warrior, and your hit points are fucking 10.
Right.
At level 5.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, bro. So you reload. Yes, I fucking press the reload button. Absolutely.
All right. I think that's all the questions we had. If you guys do me a favor, hit that like button down below if you enjoyed the conversation. What's going on, Melrose? Guys, if you're in the channel, and thank you very much. Who's that member? JW, thank you very much for becoming a Goonie Squad member. We did get gifted memberships from Akuta Papa earlier in the show. If you guys have a white name in chat and you're not opted in, make sure you opt in to claim one of those. Also, Quintar earlier today gifted some, so I don't know if they keep in the back and you can use them later. I don't know when they expire. But we did have someone give memberships, and no one claimed them as of yet. So make sure if you're not opted in to be a member, you can opt in, and then you can get yourself a free membership because Kuda Papa was very nice to gift 5 memberships earlier in the show that have not been claimed. Other than that, Generation X Gaming, episode 360 is in the can. We do appreciate you for coming out and hanging out with us each and every single week. We're here at 30 NSG at 8 p.m. Eastern here on Thursday nights. You can watch the past broadcasts right here on the past playlists. You can also go to Spotify to watch the past broadcasts on video, or you can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm. We almost have enough shows where you can listen to us one a day for 365 days. So for one a day for the entire year, you could listen to our first podcast all the way up to the 365 in just 5 weeks. So other than that, oh, you're good, JW. Don't worry about it, man. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate the support. Other than that, I do appreciate you very much for coming out and hanging out with us. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We do a show Monday through Thursday from 8 o'clock or from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We go over the news. It's called Reading the News with 30, and I banter back and forth with chat. Chat is a very active part of our morning stream, so come on by and hang out with us in the mornings. You can also come back in the evenings, Monday through Wednesday. We do 8 p.m. to about 10:30 now, and we've been playing Star Wars. We've been playing Transformers, War of Cybertron. We're going to finish that out tomorrow night. We're going to finish out War of Cybertron late stream tomorrow night, 10:30ish. We're going to finish that out with the last 2 chapters, and then next week we're going to start Transformers, the Fall of Cybertron. That's the sequel to War of Cybertron. That'll be Monday, Tuesday. Then Wednesday, I think I'm going to play some Wayfinder on Wednesday night. We're going to see if the launch is okay the day before, see what's happening with it, and then we'll play it on Wednesday night because we're already done with Division. And then on Thursday nights, we do the podcast, so we'll see you guys at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.
Game on.
They're two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.